Hello, hello. Welcome. Here we are discussing the last of the A Night of the Seven Kingdoms season 1 so that we can move on with our lives. We've been talking about this for 2 months. Here we are. I'm joined by Carmine of Red Team Review, and we were discussing before everything started. Thank you, Gecko. He's excited too. We were excited. We were talking about Germany and Japan and the similarities between Germany and Japan. And
What a way to
Carmine
start
was
a
quite
fucking
surprised
what a
about
way to
about a
start
few.
a fucking stream. Jesus Christ.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I mean, we'll talk about Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Don't get me wrong, but we were discussing. So I lived in Germany for 3 years. I lived in Japan for a summer. So I know German society a little better than I know Japanese society. But then again, I had a Japanese girlfriend, so I was more exposed to Japanese culture than German culture. But I was saying that there's a similarity between Germany and Japan, in which um, we think of the Japanese today as being these like incredibly cutesy, like detail oriented but cutesy people. The girls are girly, and everybody's got the fucking stuffed animals and uh, anime here and there, and their drawings have all these girls with their big eyes, and it's a very cutesy oriented culture. And I was saying, like, but you don't realize is that, like, Germany is very similar to that. Like, and he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh my God. Like, first of all, you think that, like, in Germany, like, girls wear their hair in braids all the fucking time because it's cutesy. And when people say goodbye to each other, it's choose. Like, they are so cutesy at different times. And, like, they love, like, dressing their little kids in these cute little, outfits with like, I don't know, like the the it's not exactly like the official lederhosen thing, but they dress them in these like cute little shorts, and it rains a lot, so they have these cute galoshes that they send them out in. Like, the Germans are very much, yeah, that's true. Don't forget choosy. Sometimes they don't say just choose, they go choosy for goodbye. So, and it's funny because, like, these two societies that are very cutesy, they of course have this, like, very savage past. Um, like, no prisoner of war was treated worse than those captured by the Japanese. Like, and obviously we all know that the Germans, did the Holocaust. I mean, you know, not everyone knows that, but yes, that happened. So it's very interesting that those two things can be together. This a society that wants to be so cutesy, with also, like, this very, and maybe it's the cutesiness is trying to hide and paint over the savageness or something. Um, but if there's one thing about um, the Sound of Music, and I understand the Sound of Music is Austria, and it's American perception of Austria, but still there's this, like, if you ever watch the Sound of Music and how those kids are portrayed and how cute they are and everything, like, you feel that in Germany, in many respects. But man, oh man. But we were talking about German chocolate and German Haribo, like the gummy bears. Like, Germans are obsessed with candy. Um, and so, like, it's a very common thing. Like, after work, like, a German would be like, "Ooh, like, which new Ritter Sport am I going to try this today?" Ooh, and so they go to the grocery store and they look at the selection of the fucking 200 goddamn Ritter Sport varieties, and they're like, "Ooh, today should I try a chocolate cookie?" And they like, drunk Germans, like, they'll go into the convenience store and they'll be like, I'm gonna get Haribo gummy bears. Like, that's just, it's so odd. It's not what you think. It's not what you'd expect. So Carmine was surprised. So Carmine was surprised, but
I mean,
you just laugh at the whole thing. You're like, what?
I did so the audience isn't confused. We were literally just talking briefly about this. I did totally not expect him to go off on this
Oh,
at
because
all.
there's so much. Ritter Sport is the goat. I mean, Ritter Sport is. I mean, of
It's
course
okay.
it's better than Hershey. Of course.
Yeah,
Ritter
Hershey
Sport
sucks.
is the fucking goat. And like people that are like Brits that are like, but Cadbury, no, it's Swiss chocolate. No, like Ritter Sport is perfectly balanced.
Actually,
It's like not too
actually,
rich. It's not too sweet. It's
let
like
me send
perfectly
you this.
balanced.
So,
Um,
to explain this to the audience, a friend of mine, they sent out I got a PO box recently, and a friend of mine, they sent out some chocolates for me to try. And now I'm having like a bunch of people from my community from all over Europe, and a couple people from South America just send me chocolates now. That's a whole fucking thing now. But
yeah.
this one person, they
These
sent
like
me chocolates. And the ones I've tried, I put it on a tier list and I put it up in the
yeah. Oh,
Discord
that's
server.
interesting.
So for me, S tier is this Brazilian chocolate called Prestigio, which is like a coconut thing. This
Yeah.
Happy Hippo thing, I'm told, is like the greatest thing ever. For me, I would put it at a B tier. I'm not a big fan of wafers. I just tried the Milka
I
Max
mean,
today.
the thing is, I'm so biased as an American. Like, you don't love a fucking good Kit Kat.
Nah, I think Hershey tastes like shit. I hate
I
Hershey. It
the,
tastes like vomit
the
to
thing
me.
is, when you're raised on Hershey, like Hershey seems normal. Like, I understand that like everybody else like is like, how can you say that Hershey like doesn't taste like anything? And you're like, yeah, because like you got to remember, like Americans like at Halloween we're shoving like 45 chocolate bars in our mouth, so we need to have chocolate bar to taste like nothing. Because if you were sitting with some of these European chocolates, they're so rich and flavorful. You're like done after two squares. You're like, oh, that's good. I'm gonna save this for later. Like Hershey, you can just fucking eat and eat and eat, which is the point. Like. But the thing is, like, where you're raised and like what you're raised on, like, obviously affects your taste. Like, I understand objectively Hershey is shit, but I'm an American and I was raised on it, so it seems normal. So what are
I'm
you gonna
sorry to
do?
hear that. Look,
It,
I
I mean,
normally
it's
don't
it's
like.
in the middle of a fucking s'mores. You think I can't like? You think when I get a Hershey bar, I'm not thinking about like a romantic time of camping and being by a campfire and
So
like
it's
having graham
nostalgia.
crackers and like you're
It's
like
nostalgia for
slowly
you.
roasting my marshmallow until it's golden and it's getting and putting it with the two perfect like Hershey's squares. Like you think that memory, I can take that memory out and divorce it from a fucking
Sure,
Hershey bar. Like fuck them.
sure.
Like, like
But you
it's
also need to understand something. As a Brazilian person, Brazilians take their chocolates very seriously, like the French, and therefore, a lot of what I've tried in the United States fucking sucks. Like Hershey suck, Kit Kat is okay, M&M's
yeah.
suck. I think the best chocolates you guys have here in America. You may not like what I have to say here, but
Uh-huh.
I think Snickers are pretty decent.
Snickers are great. Look,
I
I'm a
would put
big fan
Snickers.
of look, I will tell you my favorite of all the American candy bars, I think is whatchamacallit. And I like whatchamacallits.
Whatchamacallit? What the fuck is that?
Look it up, look it up, motherfucker. Whatchamacallits are great.
Let me see. I have never seen this in my life. What is this? What is in this? What is this? Made with chocolate, peanut flavor, crisps, and caramel. I
I'm
have
a big
pressed. I've
crisp. I'm a big crisp person. Give me a crackle. I fucking love crackles.
never seen this in my life. Like you guys have a bunch of like random ass mediocre chocolates in the U.S. Like Payday. Who the fuck Payday?
Payday is what Payday is a Snickers without chocolate. Or no,
Ugh.
it's a Baby Ruth without chocolate. A Payday is a Baby Ruth without a chocolate on the outside. That's all it is.
Mm, I
You've had a
promise
Baby
you,
Ruth, yeah?
nothing. Yes, nothing in the United States goes above a C for me, and I would put a Snickers at a C.
Well, I will tell
Nothing
you
goes above.
this. I will tell you this. And coming back, some of us put Reese's is by far the most overrated candy. I mean, they
Yeah.
recently changed the Reese's formula here,
Hmm.
where they changed the oil for in the chocolate. But I will say this that Reese's is super common in America, and during Halloween, when you're doing your Halloween trading, thanks Gecko. Um, so what a lot of people don't realize, like Halloween, like they watch TV. Like if you're not in America and you watch TV and you see the Halloween kind of situation, you kind of have this like idea of what Halloween is, but you forget that like Halloween also involves this period of trading your candy after Halloween with the other kids, and this discovery of like how markets work, because you're like trying to figure out like how much this house gave me a fucking Charleston chew. How much is that worth? Nothing. You know, like Reese's peanut butter cups were always the gold standard. They were always the most valuable thing to have. And I fucking love a Reese's peanut butter cup. What are you talking about? And I will tell you that like Europeans often had trouble getting Reese's peanut butter cups in Europe, and Europeans would tell me all the time, "Can you bring me Reese's?" Like as a thing. So like they understand generally that. So I mean, I understand, Daniel, that you can have your own personal opinion about Reese's peanut butter cups, but I'll tell you that like objectively, people fucking love Reese's peanut butter cups. Like, come on. Like, it's why they've made a million knockoffs. Trader Joe peanut butter cups, sunflower cups. Like, everyone fucking knows that like a Reese's peanut butter cup is fucking gold. And so like, what can you do? Like objectively, like versus say Hershey's, which no one fucking wants outside of America. Like no one wants a fucking Hershey bar outside of America. You'd be lying on the street and no one would pick it up in Europe. Okay. Like that's how worthless Hershey bars are. Right. But at the same time, a Reese's peanut butter cup, you know, come on. You got to objectively understand that like, other people love it, even if you don't.
Nobody would pick it up. Lying in the street, you'd be in the middle of the Holdemore. Nobody would pick that shit up.
I know, right? But
hey,
of course,
quick,
like again, like I'm super, you know, I mean, it's funny because people are like, oh, Preston's so self-loathing as American, but at the same time, I'm very American. Like you know, like my food tastes have been completely shaped by American culture. My music taste completely shaped by American culture. My fashion, the way I talk, like, you know, it's like it's you know, in one ways I am like 500% American, but at the same time, like you know, like I understand objectively all the things fucking wrong with America and everything that we've done wrong. But at the same time, do I like fucking lots of ice in my goddamn drink? Of course I do. Do I guzzle Coca-Cola? God. Yeah, I fucking guzzle Coca-Cola. Do I eat a shit ton of breakfast cereal? Absolutely, I'd eat a shit ton of breakfast cereal. like, you know, I'm straight up American.
This is why I love you, dude. I always put a shit ton of ice in my drink. I always get made fun of this. Like, you do realize you're getting a lot less drink. I know. That's what I'm saying, man. You can never. It needs to be cold. Like, who the fuck? What kind of monsters are drinking lukewarm soda?
But at the same time, it's abused. Of course, it's America, and you go to some places and they fucking fill the cup up with like crushed ice to the limit, and then they put in like 2 drops of drink, and you're like, fuck you. Which is why like heavy ice, the American tradition, pairs so well with the other American tradition of free refills, you know, like which leads to the American tradition of obesity. It all leads together. It all leads together, man. You know,
hey, before we move on from the chocolate combo, do me a favor. Put up that chocolate that I like. I just gave it to you here, the Prestigio. That's my if anybody's ever near like a Brazilian store and you see this chocolate here, just get this.
I understand, you know, the chocolate comes from Latin America and all, but for some reason I've never really had a great Latin American.
Oh, I love that. So there is a Brazilian store near me, and 1 bar of those is $2. But this fucking asshole Trump, his tariffs made 1 bar $4. It's just not worth it. It's just not. I love it so much. That's S tier to me. Mwah, I love it. That's S tier.
There are these weird things like if you ever go to Canada, there's this chocolate bar in Canada called Mr. Big, and it's like why this candy bar never made it to America, I don't know. But they're like somewhat popular candy bar in Canada, like Mr. Big. When you're this big, they call you Mr. is the slogan. It's like, why didn't
That's genius. Holy shit.
yeah. It's a way for candy bar though, so you wouldn't really like it that much.
Not a big fan of wafers.
Yeah.
What were we talking about again?
Germany, chocolate, cutesiness, the need to like cover a savage past with like cutesiness, you know? I mean, in like 50 years, America is going to be producing super cutesy shit. You know, right now, you know, to cover all of our crimes. Oh God, it's got to be nothing but cutesy shit, man. Oh. Rewatched six theory vids. So good. More coming soon. Theory vids. It's tough with theory vids because like they I will tell you that the theory vid period was fun. You know, it was great, but it does kind of change when you realize that George's The Winds of Winter is not coming. And so you're asking questions that will never have an answer. And so my motivation for theory vids plummeted with my realization that like Winds of Winter was not happening. And so that's a big thing. The other thing is like, there is also a bit, even though, you know, I'm not that motivated by the algorithm and things like that, but it still hits me somewhat. Like, it's frustrating when I put a lot of time into a theory video, which can take a lot of thought and process and research, and it doesn't get that many views. In the olden days, like the algorithm made my theory vids get a lot of views, and now they just don't, and they're hardly worth the time, you know. So it's a lot of research and effort and blood, sweat, and tears for something that like people aren't going to watch, that I'm not that interested in. So you've got to like put that two things. Like, I can make a video on something that I'm really interested in, and I can make a video on what the audience is interested in. And with Winds of Winter not coming out, my interest is dropped, and then the algorithm makes it so like the audience interest is just not there. It's just not presented to them. And so those two things together have really been the downfall of the Preston Jacobs theory video. I think my last one was I put one out during House of the Dragon.
You're also kind of not really saying what a majority of the issue is. There's nothing left to talk about. Like,
I could always find something more to talk about. I can, but there's always something. But it's a lot's been covered, but it's we can theorize about an issue that's just never ever going to be resolved from George. So I'm more interested in the fanfic. I'm more interested in like, the details and going over Dunk and Egg or the story and understanding like the themes and process that went into making it and things like that. It's who knows how things might shift. I mean, maybe when fucking if out of fucking nowhere Winds of Winter gets thrown at us and I'm like, holy shit, I was wrong, it's here, maybe all of a sudden that would be refreshed, but at this point, it's really, really hard when it's like there's not going to be Winds of Winter. So why am I speculating on Illyrio's master plan when like we're never going to get the answer to that. So
in terms of creativity and original ideas, the community is running on fumes. But the problem is also the community is trying their best to scrape the bottom of the barrel for any new content.
Sure.
They're just not going to get anything as compelling as Dornish Master, Pink Letter, like all this other stuff. It's just not going to happen because there's no new book. And also, there needs to be a show that's as big as Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon, and as much as I like Night of the Seven Kingdoms, does not come anywhere near as close as the popularity of those first 4 to 5 seasons. So what are you going to do? Also, are we going to talk about Night of the Seven Kingdom or?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's what we're talking about. We were talking about the last thoughts you had on it. Now you said you don't think Night of the Seven Kingdoms comes close to the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones.
No, in terms of popularity, no
Oh,
shot.
popularity.
Popularity. If we're also talking about in terms of like what was better, Game of Thrones season 1 or Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I think season 1 Game of Thrones is way better. What annoys me the most about the fandom now is that everyone's just doing. Everyone has like a lack of nuance. It's either you really love something or you really hate it.
Yeah.
No shot. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms season 1 is better than Game of Thrones season 1.
No, I would not.
Shot.
I would not put it. I would put it. I would rank it. I think this was asked to me before, and I would rank it fourth. I would say. I think I said Game of Thrones season 1, Game of Thrones season 2, Game of Thrones season 3, Night of the Seven Kingdoms season 1. I think that's my order.
You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair ranking. What would be number 5 though? Since we're doing like top 5.
This was where it gets iffy. Like, do I rank Game of Thrones season 4 higher than House of the Dragon season 1?
I would.
That's the issue. I mean, granted, like season 4 has got a lot of problems. Season 4 also has fucking Pedro Pascal as Oberyn Martell. You're like, oh right, the thing that the season that launched 1,000 movies, with starring Pedro Pascal. Like sometimes I forget like how huge season 4 was, but maybe I'd put season 4. And then House of the Dragon season 1, House of the Dragon season 2. Then I would go season 5, season 6, season 7, season 8. But I know that you like season 6, right?
Fuck no, I like season 5 just fine.
You like season 5?
Yeah, but we need to do a rewatch of season 5. We got to do like a commentary track of that shit. We got to finish that. But
considering season 5, is it really that bad?
You know what? The problem I have with season 5 is that season 5 is where we had like a fucking flood of new YouTubers coming in, and it just everyone was just saying the same thing. The sand snakes suck. Yeah, we get it. Sand snakes suck. What else you got? Season 5 had a lot of good stuff. In regards to Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is the title of your stream,
yes,
is it safe to say that we were wrong about the audience reception to Night of the Seven Kingdoms? Because we thought casual fans would be bored. Like hardcore fans, we knew they would like it. We thought casual fans would be kind of bored, but no, they fucking loved the shit out of it.
I mean, I suppose a little wrong. I mean, I think I was much wronger about House of the Dragon. I did not think House of the Dragon was going to be the huge success it was. And it was. House of the Dragon got huge ratings numbers. Night of the Seven Kingdoms got pretty good ratings numbers. Probably slightly better than what I expected. But it's not blockbuster House of the Dragon numbers, right? For the money they spent, maybe. But obviously in my personal life, like I'm I'm the guy with the YouTube channel, on Game of Thrones. Like, and so people do say like normies do say to me like, oh yeah, is that show good? I was thinking about watching it. I was like, yeah, no, it's pretty good. I think you should watch it. They're like, oh, but I just want to wait for all the episodes to be out so I can binge it. I'm like, well, they're all out now. Like that. These are the things that like normies ask me. So it is something that everyone's planning to watch, getting around, like, if it turned out to be good, that kind of thing. So
I don't feel like this is an unpopular opinion, but I feel I agree with you that House of the Dragon season 1 got a lot of hype, but I feel as though Night of the Seven Kingdoms season 1 should have had more hype than House of the Dragon season 1 did.
Yeah.
Like a Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I feel like earned it. It has no bad episode. Like the first two episodes were a little slow,
it's true.
But
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, as much as my season, my K7K watch like pokes fun at it. Overall, it's a really good show. And what I can say that's kind of special about Ira Parker's work versus um, Ryan Condal is that like Ira Parker created a lot of scenes out of nowhere, completely out of nowhere. And the new scenes that he added were mostly really good. In fact, some of them were the best scenes of the series, the Ira Parker created scenes. And I'm giving Ira Parker all the credit for whatever, the entire cast of writers or whatever. But when you think of like scenes like Dunk and Sir Arlen by the tree and him telling about the penny tree and Dunk like asking him why he was never knighted. You know, like that's not in the source material and that's a beautiful fucking scene. Or the entire flashback of King's Landing and Dunk being sad about his mom and him dealing with his girlfriend and her dying and stuff like that and how painful that was. Like that's pretty good. That's a really good flashback considering it's all fucking original shit, you know? Like that was great. You know, do you have that kind of like even when we're talking about Game of Thrones, yeah, there's a couple nice scenes. Like, oh, it was really nice when Tywin and Arya, they're back and forth. Oh, that scene with Robert and Cersei in season 1 is really nice. But at the same time, like, it's not, you know, one of the best scenes of the entire series, right? Like, Ira Parker's, like, scenes were some of the best in the entire series. His original creations were some of the best of the entire series. So that's pretty impressive. So I'll give him that, you know. So.
Well, Dave and Dan did the same thing. They had a lot of great original scenes, and
Ryan they did. They had some great original scenes, but they were never the best scenes. They were never the best.
That's a debate. But sure.
Yeah.
That's also, well, to be fair, that's also a little unfair considering a lot of the greatest scenes in Game of Thrones season 1 also come from George.
That's the thing is like it's the source material is stronger. It's like you can't. How is he supposed to compete with like Dany coming out of the pyre with little dragons on her back? Like how can he fucking right? You know, like right? Like how can he fucking compete? Well, Night of the Seven like Hedge Knight doesn't have any scenes like that, you know. So you know, so
it's a more simplistic story, but again, you and I were wrong as to how much the casuals would like it, and so was George R.R. Martin. When HBO came to him for prequel ideas, he said, "Oh, you want something with dragons and you know this and this."
Yeah, we briefly before we got on stream, Carmine and I were talking about this. We cut off our conversation. We're like, we need to save this for stream. What did the casuals like about Night of the Seven Kingdoms that made it connect with them? And like, because you're like, okay, there's no tits and dragons. So, because with Game of Thrones, you're like, oh, the casuals came for the tits and dragons. But here, no tits and dragons. So what did they come for? And the things that I hear people complimenting were all like the connection between Dunk and Egg, the connection between Dunk and Sir Arlen, like all of the schmaltzy stuff. The schmaltzy, like riding off into the sunsets, like the music, like, and you forget that like casuals like schmaltzy stuff. Like schmaltzy stuff is a winning fucking formula. And they figured that out and they threw, I mean, Hedge Knight is not schmaltzy. like it's not schmaltzy at all. The schmaltziness, if it's there, is 2 layers of subtext beneath everything, you know, like when Dunk is thinking about Sir Arlen, you know, it's you forget that casuals like schmaltzy stuff. They don't just like tits and dragons.
They also like none of the stuff that you cared about in Hedge Knight. You cared about can a man change, the dragonfly thing, Dunk being born. They cared about none of that, and they were all cheering, you know, Lionel Baratheon, the fucking
Lionel Baratheon. Here we go. Show creation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing.
Love that stuff.
Ira Parker created Lionel Baratheon. Yes, I understand the characters in the fucking Hedge Knight. No, but Lionel Baratheon, show Lionel Baratheon is show fucking Lionel Baratheon. I mean, you can say that like, okay, how much of Pedro Pascal is in Oberyn Martell? And I would say they are very different characters, show Oberyn and book Oberyn, and a lot of show Oberyn is Pedro Pascal's charisma. But at the same time, the crossover between book Oberyn and show Oberyn, there's a lot of crossover. While show Lionel Baratheon and book Lionel Baratheon, who has 5 lines, there's not much crossover. Like, show Lionel Baratheon is so likable and carries the fucking show. People love the show because of fucking Lionel Baratheon. He's essentially an Ira Parker creation, or the actor creation, because he was so fucking charming. Yeah. No, I mean,
it was also a very basic story, and some people would like to say it's reminiscent of white culture. You didn't see that, did you?
No, what?
You didn't see? Oh my God, he didn't see that. You didn't see.
Oh,
so,
no. What's reminiscent of white culture? I don't even know what white culture is, but okay.
Hold on. So when Dunk protects Tansel Tutal, and then he goes up against, like the fucking patriarchy, royalty, whatever. You had one specific person. I'll give you 2 guesses who it was. You know him very well, on Twitter saying the show is great because this is white culture. Take a guess as to who it was. 2 guesses.
Oh no. Really? The fucking psychopath?
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't know about this.
That's such an atrocious take. That is such an atrocious take.
I'm being very ridiculous. Don't mind me, audience. I just like to give Preston shit. I just like to give Preston shit. But no, it was
oh my God. It's so atrocious because, like, first of all, like, I lived in the Middle East for 4 years. Okay. There is not a more honor fucking obsessed culture than Middle Eastern culture, to the point of detriment. Like, to the point where, like, honor is more important than all of these very, very important things. Like, oh God. But honor is a huge, the most important thing, like, in Middle Eastern culture. Like, it's like honor first, Allah second. Like, it is like, it is enormous. So to be like, oh, honor and like protecting people, like, and worrying about honor is like a white culture thing. Like, holy shit, you fucking psychotic piece of. Oh my God.
I'm sorry to the audience. I like to stir the pot.
Atrocious psychopath.
To stir the pot.
Atrocious psychopath. Unbelievable.
But it was a very simplistic story. Dunk is very lovable. Lionel is great.
Yeah, great
Raymond
casting.
Awesome.
The thing is, I would say, like, one of the things that, like, saves the show, and like I say, like, I think the reason the show succeeded is because of Ira Parker's decisions, his casting, his extra scenes, his dialing the schmaltz up, like, all of those things appealed to the average person. And, like, look, I love, like, I've said this a million times, I'm a broken record. I love the Hedge Knight. I'm not sure if the Hedge Knight was really actually put on screen, especially thematically. I'm not sure if the Hedge Knight would have translated well to the screen. And Ira Parker didn't necessarily translate it, but he put something on there that really appealed to people. So he knew what to do.
And as such, everything that people liked about it was not exactly what you liked about the book, but it still worked very well.
Like I say, they're very different things. Mm-hmm. I can like them both, but they're very different things. I scratch my head at all the reviewers that are like, it's so beautifully, it's so perfectly adapted, and everything that they put on enhances the source material. I'm like, no, they just didn't fucking do the source material. That's fine. It's fine to not adapt the source material, but just admit that it's not adapted. Like, it's fine. It's still a good show. It's still a good show. It's just not it's not a great adaptation.
He really did fix a couple of things that the Hedge Knight didn't do as well. For example, Dunk and Egg, their whole friendship.
Duncan Eggs
Oh my
relationship,
god.
absolutely.
Highlighting the Apple Boy, highlighting Lionel, like all these
Oh,
characters, like.
absolutely. Giving these secondary characters more personality and more time to shine. Absolutely, absolutely.
But I will say
Um,
there is one complaint I do have is that while he highlighted all these secondary characters, I wish he gave more time to other characters like Beesbury, who I guess
Beesbury, yeah,
what Beesbury is kind of like
Harding.
Boba Fett. Boba Fett didn't get that much screen time, but everybody loved
Everybody
him
loves
anyway because
him.
he was so like crazy
Gets one,
looking. It's
yeah.
Beesbury, same thing.
Gets his
But I
fucking
wish like
one line. Gets his one line,
one
and then yeah.
like Valar. I wish Valar had more screen time. I wish Robin Risling had more screen time. I wish
Mhm.
Harding had more screen time.
Absolutely. And
You
the thing
know,
is, they had the time. They had the
they
time.
did.
They could have, you know. Um, you know, when Say says there wasn't enough jousting, there was some jousting. There was. We saw some jousting. Jousting's super expensive, though. I mean, come on. But we got some jousting. We got it. We got it.
Television right now, by the way, is way more fucking expensive. Did you see what Seth MacFarlane said about his TV show Ted?
No, tell me.
So Seth MacFarlane just released season 2 of the television show Ted, and he said that season 2 is going to be the last one because everything is so expensive. I'm quoting him. He said it's like creating 22 minutes version of the Avengers every episode because of how expensive and how much time and work and effort goes into it. And I'm like, really, on this fucking teddy bear show? Are you
Yeah,
kidding
no,
me?
I was reading an article with Ira Parker talking about season 2 and how he thought season 2 was going to be much cheaper than season 1 because it's in the middle of nowhere. There's not the incredible sets, there's not the jousting and all that shit. And he said that unfortunately, the costs of season 2 are going to probably reach not quite season 1, but they're approaching it, he said. And the reason was because there's more egg. Yeah.
Huh? He
Yeah,
said
well,
this?
so I'll explain it. Because Egg is a child actor, there's a limited number of hours he is allowed to work a day, and then they have to
Oh
shut everything down.
yeah.
And so you have to have people more days. They can't, you're paying people the same amount of money, but they're only working half days because Egg is only allowed to work a certain number of hours. And so
That sucks.
because he has to go to school, he has to have a tutor and do schooling and things like this. There's laws that you can't like just exploit children and destroy their future by having them work all day. You can work them a certain number of hours because they have to worry about things like education. You know, and so he said because there's more Egg in season 2, the entire cast, like all of the camera work, microphones, everybody has to be there, but they can't film the whole day. They're still, having those costs. So season 2 is actually going to be nearly as expensive as season 1, despite the fact that they're in the fucking middle of nowhere with no jousts. Like,
Uh,
um, I stayed up. I wanted to talk about Carmine because this question came up. Thoughts on season 2 casting? Peter Mullen. Peter Mullen is awesome. Peter Mullen, I think people know mainly from Westworld season 2. He played, what was the name of the company? Dev. Oh, I'm totally forgetting it. I want to say like Davos, but
Delos?
what is it? Delos. Yeah, Delos. He played Delos. He played Logan's dad.
He also played the king who goes crazy in Rings of Power, and at the end of season 2, he charges the Balrog. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to be playing Sir Eustace. And so yet he is a great actor. He's not like on first look, I wouldn't have imagined him being Sir Eustace because I always think of Sir Eustace being this like scrawny, like got nothing going for him kind of way, while like Peter Mullen's like, got some meat on his bones, and he's a good looking man and things like that, and charismatic. I always thought of Sir Eustace as being like, he's got nothing fucking going for him, like, but he'll do a great job. I mean, everybody's better looking in the shows, right? Brienne in the show is fucking beautiful, and Brienne in the book is like the ugliest thing ever, right? Like, Tyrion Lannister in the show is a handsome man. In this book, he's the ugliest thing ever. Jon Snow is homely in the books, and he's like the fucking beautiful Kit Harington in the.
I sent you a picture of the castings. Do you want to put it up and
Sure,
we can talk about it?
Okay, so here's our casting. So Sir Eustace is on the right. Peter Mullen. What's the name of Sir Bennis's actor?
His name escapes me. Let me grab it real quick because he was in Alien Earth. Babouk Cisse.
Babu is he play one of the kids, or does he play one of the guards? What is he in Alien Earth?
He was Morrow, the cyborg.
He's Morrow? He's such a
Morrow,
smooth skin here, and Morrow had like pox, so I'm just like, what? Mm-hmm. Okay, he's Morrow. Morrow was the
cyborg who was trying to get one of the kids to work for him.
Yeah. And so on the left, I imagine she's playing
Rohanne Weber.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's that actress's name?
Her name is Lucy Boynton.
Lucy.
I looked up her acting credentials. I've never seen her in anything.
Yeah. Huh. It says she was in The Queen or something, and that she used to date Rami Malek. That's all I can find on her. I've never seen her before.
So do you want to talk about how kind of awkward it is, the casting for Sir Bennis?
Because the fact that they've like made Sir Bennis the Brown an actual literal brown person. Is that what that is a little awkward. That is a little awkward.
Especially since, and it's been a while since I've gone through Sword and Sword, so correct me if I'm wrong. Whenever Dunk thinks about him, he thinks that Sir Bennis is a very dirty person with like rotten teeth and just smells.
Right, but the reason in his mind he's brown is because of like he's actually covered in dirt. Right.
Right, that too.
I guess the internal monologue's not going to make it over.
It's a little shaky, but okay, whatever. Ira Parker, you do your thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Let me think here. Some of the things, though, from some of the quotes from the Sword and Sword. In Dorne, he went about bare-chested and turned brown as a Dornishman. This is egg.
Okay. Interesting.
He donned a loose brown surcoat over rusted. The Brown Knight looked just as he had when he left. Worse, he smelled the same as well. He wore the same garb every day: brown breeches, a shameless rough-spun tunic, horsehide boots. When armored, he donned a brown loose surcoat over a shirt of rusted mail. His sword belt was a cord of boiled leather, and his seamed face might have been made of the same thing. His head looked like one of those shriveled melons that we passed. Even his teeth were brown. Under the red stains left by sour leaf he liked to chew. Amidst all that brownness, his eyes stood out. They were a pale green, squinty, small, close set, slightly bright with malice. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. So, I mean, if you're thinking about the character of Morrow, though, it's kind of the character of Morrow kind of could be Sir Bennis the Brown, right?
Oh yeah, Morrow was my favorite character.
They both have that like, I've been through the ringer. I am fucking savage from being through the ringer.
Oh yeah,
Um,
he was my
Comics
he
are
was
great.
next to Timothy Oliphant. He was my favorite character.
Yeah,
Timothy
he's great.
Oliphant played fuck, where is Timothy Oliphant here? He
Timothy
played
Oliphant,
Timothy Oliphant played fuck, where
the
is
other
the
android.
yeah, the other
To
android. He was
learn
so
this
good in that
far into
too.
Timothy Oliphant's career that he had acting range. I was like, I always thought he just played Timothy Oliphant, like
Hirsch.
likable, cocksure, guy. And then it's like, oh, you could actually play other things. That's great. But yeah, look, these are. I know nothing about the actor for Lady Rowan, but Rohan, but not Rowan the sex worker. But the other two actors are known great actors, so they will do a fantastic job. But the thing is, Game of Thrones, it never really, with the exception of some child actors, did it ever really lack great actors? I mean, I guess the Sand Snakes.
The first
Um,
Dario, I wasn't a big fan of.
yeah, you're right. First Dario was not
The
great.
the
Second
second
Dario was
mountain kind of
fantastic.
sucked.
Second Dario
Second
was
Dario was
fantastic.
cool.
Yeah.
The second mountain kind of sucked. Wasn't a fan.
Yeah, I mean Third Mountain too. I mean,
The first mountain was the best, but
First Mountain
whatever.
was the best. First Mountain embodied him perfectly.
Uh
Um, yeah, I
huh. No,
didn't.
Game of Thrones had some phenomenal actor. Was there a bad? I don't think there was a single bad actor, with the exception of a couple of people where they're like, eh.
I
But for
mean,
the
I
most
think
part, it was it.
like you could make arguments that like there were times when Amelia Clark wasn't great, and there were times when Kit Harington wasn't great, and there was times when Sophie Turner wasn't great, um, and there things like that. But most of the actors were fucking top notch. You know, like, was there a single scene that like Kate Dickey didn't nail? Was there a single scene that Dinklage didn't nail? Was there a single scene
Right.
that Lena Headey didn't nail? No, of course they were fucking always fucking on. Um, it was the like I would say that like when something went wrong was usually a younger actor, and some of them got much
Oh
better. I mean,
wait,
Sophie
wait, wait, wait,
Turner
wait.
got better and better as the series went on.
We're forgetting one of the worst actors of all time in Game of Thrones, the Euron Greyjoy guy.
I mean, what was he supposed to do? What was he supposed to fucking do?
something better than that. But hiring the guy who played Moro, Babo Sise, I liked him as Moro, but I think Ira Parker doing this kind of resurrects this complaint from people about Game of Thrones characters, is that almost every single thief and villain and pirate is dark skin, which, to be fair, once you kind of like think about it, yeah,
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah,
That's a fair complaint. It is. It does kind of look weird.
absolutely. I no, I agree with you. I agree with you. Like it would almost it would almost be
Especially
better.
when you
You're
consider
right,
what,
because it would almost be better if they cast Sir Eustace as a black guy and Sir Bennis as a white guy.
especially when you consider what Sir Bennis does at the very end.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that, then it like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, maybe it'll be a situation. So Carmine and I were talking about this before, and I mentioned, well, that there's maybe it'll be a situation like um, Demolition Man. Demolition Man is a movie where the hero is white and the villain is black, and no one thinks about it. Okay, none of the audience thinks about it. No one in the movie thinks about it. It's just a coincidence that the hero is white and the villain is black. It's like otherwise completely irrelevant. And the reason was because Wesley Snipes was a huge actor at the time, and Sylvester Stallone was a huge actor at the time. So in our minds, it's just two huge actors battling it out. Like you don't think of it as like, oh, isn't it really weird that you made the criminal a black guy and the police officer a white guy? What kind of statement are you making there? Because when you're watching the movie, you're just like, oh my God, Wesley Snipes versus Sylvester Stallone. Boom. Like that's the only thing you're thinking about with this dumb movie. Um, like, so there's this like hope that maybe people will just forget about it, like forget about the racial situation. But the problem is this actor is not. I mean, he's not Wesley Snipes. He doesn't have the fame, you know.
Nor is Sir Bennis gonna like yell out "Phoenix!" Like he's not. Simon says freeze. Like there's nothing like that's gonna happen. There's no three seashells, nothing to distract you.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Preston, could you do a season one watch for Game of Thrones? I don't have that much time, dude. I'm sorry.
so we did start that. It's on Patreon. We did start that.
No, I mean we did a what he's asking for is with Chad Summerchild. I'm talking
Oh,
about like we did do 3 episodes, I think,
commentary tracks.
commentary tracks for season one, a long time ago, a few years ago, where we talked about those two. But I think he's asking for Chad Summerchild, which is way too much time. I mean, we might be able to do the commentary tracks, but um, it's yeah, I don't have time. I got kids, and I'm trying to fucking finish this Jamie chapter and all sorts of other things. You know, it's just the amount of free time I have is so small these days. I'm sorry, you know. Um, yeah, I know that everybody loves Chad Summerchild, but writing those jokes like Chad Summerchild, Brandon and Sweet Robin, like it's a lot of time to go through and like come up with those jokes and um, uh, come up with a little funny skit, rewatch things several times, find all the things that are wrong, think about that stuff. They're fun, they're great, I love them, um, but it's a lot. Ira said he rewrote season 2 to accommodate that last scene. It's kind of funny when we find out through interviews that originally the show is going to end like the Hedge Knight story, that Maekar and Dunk are having the conversation. Dunk requests to have Egg be a squire and go on the road, and Maekar storms out without an answer. And then Egg shows up, and you find out that off screen, Maekar decided that after thinking about it, that no, he wants Egg to change, and that Egg is going to become Dunk's squire, and they go on the road. And that originally that was going to be the end. And then Ira came up with the joke. He's like, oh, wouldn't it be really funny if we had this like joke at the end where Maekar's like, where the fuck is Egg? And it's like, all the shenanigans again, do full circle. And it's a funny joke, but it completely fucking changes the story and has so many problems with regards to, when the Targaryens come after them and what? He's kidnapped a prince again. Like, what? That's impossible. Doesn't do the character of Maekar dirty and all this shit. And so Ira did address this and say, oh, fuck. Well, I just put it in there as a throwaway joke. And now all the writers have come back to me and be like, and we're like, we need to deal with this. And he's like, God damn it. And so now he said, yes, there'll be some sort of scene where they address it. Which is also odd because like Sworn Sword takes place 2 years after the Hedge Knight. So it's not like they'll be talking about some event from 2 years ago, I guess. I mean, in his Hedge Knight thoughts, he does go over the last 2 years like quickly, but they talk about Sweetfoot and going to Dorne and stuff like that. But yeah, it'll be weird. It'll be weird to maybe they'll flash back to the scene of Maekar talking to like catching up with them and changing his mind or something. Favorite episode of each season of Game of Thrones? Jesus. It's a lot. That's a huge question to ask all in once. I mean, I know season one.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Please remove the picture from the thing.
You don't like fine. You don't like him. Fine.
I can't see the full question, but go ahead.
Favorite episode of Game of Thrones each season? I mean, I have to pull up a fucking list now of Game of Thrones episodes. I mean, I know season 1. My favorite episode is the finale, the 10th episode. I think that's a really brilliant episode. And they do really well in closing out all of the stories and transitioning to the but next season kind of aspect. You know, like it was a smart choice. I've said this. I think there's a Glitus video where he ranks them all, and I talk in it.
We were in that video, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the big thing I note there is it was pretty brilliant to take the Jon Snow leaving the wall and pushing it back from a Clash of Kings into there. It was smart to obviously end with Daenerys. It's smart to have the King of the North scene like there. Like it's planned very well. And these are the right beats to end the season on. And I think D&D did a fucking really brilliant job in putting that all together. So that is my favorite for season 1. Season 2,
Blackwater.
Yeah, you're right. Blackwater has got to be the most. Yeah, the battle. You're right. Season 3,
Reigns of Castamere.
Oh, because that's the Red Wedding.
Yes, sir. Episode 9.
Yeah, definitely. Now it gets tricky. Season 4.
Watchers on the Wall.
That's just a battle, though.
You like the battles. Unless you want to do Lion in the Rose, which was the Joffrey wedding. Actually, you know what? I think Lion in the Rose is up there. I actually would put maybe Lion in the Rose.
To be honest, I think Lion in the Rose is underwhelming compared to what I had in my mind for the Purple Wedding.
What? Really?
I know, right? And there's just little things like instead of having real jousters, you have some dwarves come out and dance, and there's all these little things that just didn't make it. I don't know. But then again, do I make it Watchers on the Wall? I guess it's just one fucking it's a ridiculously long extended battle for no reason. But is it the best? I guess so. I guess. See, this is because again, I don't think season 4 is that great. Carmine thinks season 4 is much better than I do.
I don't know about that.
Anyway, for season 5, I think it's pretty obviously Hard Home.
Right.
I mean, Hard Home. There's a lot of shitty episodes in season 5, and Hard Home is pretty fucking incredible. Especially that ending. Beautifully done. It's funny naming all the battle episodes essentially. Season 6. I think when I watched season 6, the first time through, I would have said The Door. I think having now seen that nothing ever became of The Door, and it's just been left there as you've introduced time travel and it fucking went nowhere bullshit. Also, as been pointed out, the other storylines kind of suck in that episode. That The Door has fallen out of favor with me.
Battle of Bastards.
So it's got to be Battle of the Bastards, only because the rest of the fucking episodes suck.
Unless you want to throw in the last episode, The Winds of Winter, which It's when Cersei blows up everything, which
No, I think
and
that
it,
episode
and
sucks dick. I fucking hate the Winds
really,
of Winter. I fucking
Jesus, all
oh, I
right.
hate it. I hate
Oh
it.
man,
Oh my god.
season 6 just didn't have a lot of good shit.
No, no, I hate the Winds of Winter, and I hate the fucking sept blowing up thing. Like fucking Marjorie being like Cersei isn't here, which means she does not think that she will receive the consequences of this. And you're like, what are you fucking riddling out? It doesn't fucking make any sense at all. She could have overslept. She could be scared. Like, what the fuck are
She
you
could have
talking about?
overslept.
Like, like the fucking like Lancel, like underneath, like getting stabbed, trying to blow out the wildfire. Like, why did you follow this little kid, Lancel? What's the fucking motivation for that? Like, what were you doing? No, no, that's fucking. It was Battle of the Bastards.
And
Yeah.
there was no consequence for the blowing up of the sept. There was no consequence for it whatsoever across the
now
country.
you're just getting angry because you're just like, fuck. Season 7. Fuck, they're all so bad.
No, stop. What about the dragon and the wolf? That was okay. Spoils of war? That battle scene?
No, the battles were horrible. The battles in that are horrible. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, okay. I would say the battle in Beyond the Wall is horrible. That's the Marine battle is horrible. The dragon and the wolf. They meet at the dragon pit and the white comes out. No, I hated this episode. They were like, they thought that like throwing everyone together and would like make a good episode, and not a single person has an interesting conversation in that, except for maybe Tyrion and Cersei. No, fuck. No. God, there's not a fucking good episode in season 7. God damn it. They're all so fucking bad. Can you think of... Eastwatch?
Maybe the first or the second episode is when Jon and Dany meet.
Wait, is Eastwatch? No, Eastwatch is the White Hunt. No, Beyond the Wall is the White Hunt, right?
Right, yeah.
Oh god, oh, they're so fucking bad. Eastwatch is that's when the Tarly she burns the Tarleys, and then Olenna reveals that she murdered No. That Jaime reveals to her that so the spoils of war. Spoils of War. That's the one where it's a surprise that Jaime ends up marching on, and that's the one where Olenna is like, tell Cersei it's me. And even, I'm going to go Spoils of War as the best episode of season 7. And then best episode of season 8. Oh, they're all so horrible.
Episode 2. It ends with
fuck episode 2. Fuck episode 2. Episode 2 is the worst.
What else is there?
The fucking worst one.
Oh, over the final?
I'm saying the best episode is at least The Long Night.
Episode 3?
Yeah, because it's just the battle.
And
I was somewhat amused by the fact that like you get to a point where the battle is so extreme that you feel like you're in some weird horror movie, and there's like raining bodies. The bodies are literally raining from the sky. Like, I thought that was hilarious. Like that the battle had reached this like pinnacle point. Though I feel like there's so much I hate about that episode. Don't get me wrong. But I hate episode 2. I hate it.
Really? That's cool. By the way, real quick, answer this for me. The whole body's raining down in episode 3. Were you the one that said it was very Sam Raimi Evil Dead-ish?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very Sam Raimi, like taking it to the extremes. Yeah. I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel here, because like the rest of them were just so fucking bad. So that I'm just going with the battle episode. You
didn't like the bells? Because bells means surrender.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Davos said that in season 2. You never know bells mean surrender.
Oh God, oh God. No, no. I mean, there's so much wrong with Long Night. I understand the whole busting out of the tombs and all this shit. Like, but the other ones are so bad. Like episode 4, keep in mind the last of the Starks is where Dany's insanity comes out of nowhere, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And then the bells, and then the fucking Iron Throne, which is just atrocious. But um, no, I mean, my choices are Winterfell, the introduction to everything, and fucking the Long Night. So I'm going with the Long Night. So that's it. That's it. That's it. Oh my God, I'm so behind. Um, is there an Ephilates in A Song of Ice and Fire? Um, so this is the character I think some people might know from 300, um, who kind of betrays, who's rejected and a freak in Spartan society. They refuse to let him be a soldier, so he becomes a traitor and then goes over to the Persian army. I mean, I suppose. I mean, what comes to mind immediately is Craster, um, as someone that like um, betrays humanity that seems to be serving the others. Um, but I forget. Did they give him some sort of resolution in 300?
No, he just gets a uniform and a position in Xerxes' army, and that's it.
Okay.
So,
Hmm. Yeah. So I mean, immediately what comes to mind is Craster, um, but um, yeah. Preston is spending International Women's Day discussing a show about two men. Shaking my head. Yeah. Well. Yeah. 3-8 in China. Sanba, which well, so March 8th is International Women's Day. In Chinese, the third three is san and 8 is ba. But also like sanba means crazy. And so if you want to call somebody crazy, it's like very sexist insult. If you want to call somebody crazy, you call them sanba, in reference to International Women's Day. It's very funny. I mean, not really, but that's just a sexist thing that they have there that I, but otherwise
wait, real quick before you move on to the next super chat, have the Spaniards taught you how to say wife in Spanish?
I mean, you mean the Dominicans or like,
They
so,
speak Spanish there. Do you know how to say wife in Spanish?
well, yeah, but
How do you say
so
it?
esposa,
You know how to say handcuffs in Spanish?
sure, esposas, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Every culture has their
Yeah.
little
And some people
uh,
some people are like, oh, but isn't esposo husband? And you're like, no, that's like a modern invention. It was hombre y esposa, like for hundreds of years. Esposo is a modern invention, like of the male version of, yeah, no, yeah, yeah. They call handcuffs that, yeah. Um, that is down the list of sexist things in this society. Um, if there is already an Aegon, doesn't that mean that Jon's true name is Jaehaerys? It starts with J, and Jaehaerys was the conciliator. So is Jon. Hmm. Hmm. Um. Hmm. So, all right. First of all, like when George named Jaehaerys the Conciliator, he kind of misused the term, but like, so a conciliator is usually a neutral third party that is bringing two different groups together, right? But the thing is like the thing he's conciliating is the faith versus like the crown, but he's part of the crown, so he's not a neutral third party, so he's not really a conciliator. So like I don't know if like uh, I mean some people might be like, oh, you're you know splitting hairs here, but it makes me think about um he makes me think about like Jon here. Like, is he conciliating between like the Night's Watch and the wildlings? Well, I suppose in the same way that Jaehaerys does, right? He's not really a neutral third party. Like, um, he's also like not talking, having two groups talk. He's just fucking ruling on shit. The same with Jaehaerys, like they're not having a dialogue in a conciliation. Like it's he's just ordering shit to happen. So I mean, I suppose in the same sense of Jaehaerys, okay. Starting with J, I guess. I like the idea that Jon is named after John Aaron or something like that, or maybe he's secretly named after John Connington. That kind of stuff. I like those ideas. I think they're really fun. Um, but the question is who would Rhaegar name his third child? Like who would it be? Being a prophecy motherfucker, right? So he named his first kid Aegon and his second kid Rhaenys. The third child should be Visenya. Um, in the book, they even mention how there was no Visenya. Like the characters in story recognize that he wanted to have a Visenya. So what would you name in place of the Visenya? Um, would it be Viserys? Like, is Viserys the male version of Visenya? Like why would you jump to Jaehaerys? Um, uh, so I don't know. Like, does it seem like Rhaegar's does it seem like Rhaegar's character to worship Jaehaerys as a character? I don't know. Carmine, you got any opinions on this?
What's the
Um,
question specifically? Because this was mostly aimed at
do
you.
you think Jaehaerys would be Jon's real name? Do you think Rhaegar and Lyanna would name him Jaehaerys?
I don't. Are we talking about? It's not even confirmed in the books. We're talking about the show.
Well, in the show, wasn't his name Aegon?
Yeah, I don't know why Rhaegar's mistress would name her son the same name as Aegon's real
Other
wife's
child,
son.
right? No, in the book, what would they name him? I don't know. I don't know if Book Rhaegar seems prophecy obsessed. He seems more obsessed with like Aegon the Conqueror and things like that. I don't know if like Jaehaerys really.
Bro, watch it be Aegon in the books too, and make no fuck. It piss
I
everybody
know
off. Dave and Dan just took it from George. Like George just told him, like that's what it is.
it Very well,
'Cause
maybe.
I know people like to give Dave and Dan so much shit for like the whole John name thing, but what if it just came from George and they were just following the template?
Yeah.
Like that's the possibility.
In Dune, Paul Atreides names two children Leto, and the one that goes on to be the God Emperor is actually the second Leto because his older brother died. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So I mean, I guess he in all your wikis and stuff, they'll call him Leto the second, but he's actually Leto. He's kind of Leto the third. But he's like Leto the what? George Foreman named 5 sons George. I don't know. So who knows? Carmine, do you make Brigadero?
Brigadeiro, do I make them? No, my grandma did and my mom did, but I'm not a big chocolate guy, believe it or not. Even though like 47 people are sending me fucking chocolates from their home country, which go for it. I'm not a big chocolate guy. It's going to take me maybe months to get through like the 5 chocolate bars I have here. But shout out to that person for knowing what a brigadeiro is.
Yeah. um, Going over Hotel Part 3 and Damon the Hero when. Hotel Part 3 will be out in the next 2 or 3 days. I actually sat down and was like going to do it last night, and then I was like, my throat is still hurting from another cold. I'm gonna watch Wonder Man with my wife, and so I watched Wonder Man instead.
You're still on Wonder? You haven't finished it yet?
What, how much time do you think I fucking have? You think I can
What are
just
you
fucking
doing
sit
all
down
day?
and
Like,
binge something?
what's
No,
keeping you so busy
I can
lately?
have like 30 minutes, like 30 minutes to watch Wonder Man is a fucking luxury, man. Fucking Damon the Hero. I don't know if I'll get to Damon the Hero. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll feel more excited when House of the Dragon like comes back into um, when House of the Dragon is coming. I don't know. I don't know. I'm more excited to like go like dip right into Sworn Sword because you know how I ran out of time with Hedge Knight and I never really finished Hedge Knight. I mean, with regards to it going over, I feel like I should start early on Sworn Sword and then maybe I'd actually finish it in time. You know. Plus, right now that maybe the strike while the iron's hot, people are interested in Dunkin' Egg all of a sudden. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Hota Put 3 should be out. That's probably well, it'll be released either Tuesday or Wednesday. Um, your theory video explanation was sad and articulate. I forget which theory video explanation. um, but there's a um, yeah, I mean the thing about the theory videos and the going over is Amri X here is very right. Like when you go through like and you do all the research for the theory video, like or going over, like you end up knowing this, getting to know the story really really well. So like I wouldn't be where I am with my knowledge of the story had I not done all these fucking theory videos and gone down all these fucking rabbit holes and come back and stuff like that. So it is true that like doing the fanfic and stuff, like knowing all of these little details, it's very very helpful. Um, all sorts of stuff like comes back into my mind. You know,
There's
like
one thing you're not giving your theory videos credit for is that any asshole can do a fucking theory video, but
mm,
it's very rare to actually do a theory video and it be good and compelling and interesting.
yeah,
I may not agree with a lot of the theories that you've put out, but at least they're original and interesting. You
yeah.
know, they make you think. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, did Robb give his will to the captain of the Miraham? Considering they'd all end up at the moat, it doesn't make sense to give it to Glover or Mormont. Um, I don't think we hear about him giving it to the Miraham captain, right? He sends it off with. I think the assumption is that he sends it off with Glover and Mormont. Um, because I'm trying to remember the Miraham captain. Does the Miraham captain leave in the previous chapter? I'm trying to remember here. So Miraham captain is in Catalan 5, and then no, it's the same chapter. Okay. Is there a chance? Yeah. Jason Mallister joins Robb's forces at Hagsmire, and he brought with him the captain of the Miraham. By the way, the captain of the Miraham being here is kind of ridiculous because he's just like, he's there. Like, George pulls in the character specifically so that he can have an update on the Iron Isles. Like, there's no other purpose. Like, it's really weird that Jason Mallister brings with the fucking captain of the Miraham. Like, it's kind of outrageous. Like, if you're the captain of the Miraham, like, why would I spend like how many days traveling out to the middle of nowhere to have firsthand like report of the Iron Isles? Why don't I just tell you, Jason Mallister, and then you can go tell him, and I can go fucking do anything else. Like, it's, but yeah, I mean, I suppose he's there. He could, if he wanted, but I don't know if the it makes more sense to give it to Jason Mallister, right? If you're going to give it to somebody, right, you should give it to Jason. Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense for him. I mean, he makes more sense for him to give a copy to Jason Mallister if he was going to give a copy. But we don't hear anything about it. And Jason Mallister is taken captive after, or he surrenders to Black Walder, right? So, and is taken captive. Well, I don't know if he's captive. Well, I guess he's prisoner inside his own castle, right? So, I mean, I guess the idea is that Robb's will is with Galbert Glover and Mage Mormont. Not that it makes a difference. Someone did rightly point out that the mystery. Well, I'm split on this because someone did rightfully point out that the issue of Robb's will, obviously is irrelevant to the story because Robb gets killed and it doesn't seem like it matters. Like, anyone would listen to Robb's will anyway. And there were so many problems with Robb's will with regards to like freeing Jon from his Night's Watch vows and, stuff like that. Because he's like, Robb's solution for getting Jon out of his Night's Watch vows was to provide the Night's Watch 100 men. And it's like, well, there aren't any men to provide anymore. So how are you getting Jon out of your Night's Watch vows? Things like this. But someone brought up like Robb's will. Essentially, it's there to introduce the concept of legitimizing bastards. Not like in all the previous stories, legitimizing bastards was not a thing. But had Stannis just at the end of A Storm of Swords pulled this fucking idea out of his ass about legitimizing bastards, as a reader, you'd be like, where the fuck did this come from? This solution from fucking nowhere. And so, rightfully so, like, it needed to be introduced earlier in A Storm of Swords, the concept of legitimizing bastards, so that Stannis could use it later. Which does make sense. Like, why is this Robb's will chapter in here? Well, that's the reason. So that Stannis doesn't look like a fucking idiot later on. And that the story doesn't seem contrived later on. But realistically, if I had a will, who would I give it to? I probably wouldn't give a copy to Mage Mormont and Galbert Glover, considering that they're about to go into battle. I probably would give the copy to Jason Mallister, right? He's the one actually going to like a safe place. So it seems like if he did have a copy, it would be him, right? What do other? I'm gonna very quickly. A bunch of people are like, oh, maybe they went to Howland Reed first, but the thing is, like, yeah, it's funny how few people talk about it being with Jason Mallister and why the Miraham theory and going to Howland Reed theory is like more more common, because it's not real, like, safety wise. You're sending, you know this Miraham guy is a nobody, and you're sending Galbert Glover and Mage Mormont off in a fairly dangerous situation. So,
Just so you know, Dan is getting this idea from the can't use
yeah,
theory.
yeah, no, I know that Can't Use as an entire like article on it. Yeah. Um, yeah, he rightfully says that. Oh, so he's saying that. So Cantus brings up the idea that Seaguard was under Ironborn threat and might not be a safe location. Hmm. I don't know about that. Seaguard was built pretty well at repelling Ironborn, but the idea that Jason Mallister could deliver it to Jon at the Shadow Tower. But he says here, Cantu says not Jason Mallister because he says, um, he said that he wouldn't. He says, we see that it's unlikely that Robb had designed to send the letter on to Jon via Mallister longship. Huh? He doesn't think that it's left with Jason Mallister. He thinks that maybe it's with the captain of the Miraham. See, the captain of the Miraham's a nobody, though. And he could be picked up at sea by an Ironborn a lot easier than Seaguard being taken. Um, I don't know. I personally think that, I mean, again, I'm not, I'm only skimming this article, but like, I kind of think that from Robb's perspective here, Seaguard seems like a safer, because he doesn't know about the Frey betrayal. So he doesn't know that like Seaguard is actually going to fall to the Freys. So if he's truly just worrying about Ironborn, Seaguard is much safer location than on a fucking ship that is going through Ironborn waters. Like, if, like that's incredibly dangerous for for having Ironborn pick you off. So I'm more likely to believe that if you had a location for the will, it would be Seaguard, and that they would just keep it safe there, and that Jason Mallister could do whatever he wanted with it. Again, like, Robb doesn't think he's going to die. Like, he doesn't. There's no reason to think that, like, we need to get this message to Jon immediately. That's not important. You know, his last will and testament needs to be someplace safe for record. In the case he dies on some future day, which Robb thinks is in the far future, maybe during their attack against Moat Cailin. Not at the Red Wedding, certainly. So, I mean, I would say that I lean towards the idea that if he gave it to anybody, he would give it to Jason Mallister, and that it would be at Seaguard. I don't think it's very likely that I don't think he thinks that Seaguard is going to fall to Ironborn attacks. Seaguard is designed to keep away Ironborn, and they know that. So, but yeah, that's where I am on it. Okay. Speaking of theory video, did Time Traveling Bran ever get finished? What was the conclusion of that in 2 sentences? Oh man, of course Time Traveling Bran was finished. I mean, sum up the video conclusion. I mean, just that. We went through the video goes through the different types of time travel, and essentially, I think that George is doing a Groundhog's Day time travel situation with Bran, and that everything is getting redone in that sense. I'm not sure what went into the last video, but that definitely concluded. I'm sorry for your frustrations over never being answers from George, but honestly, answers or not, your work on A Song of Ice and Fire is the only thing keeping me interested in the material. Thank you. Well, thank you. Modern synthesist. But there is a lot, like, the theory stuff is great, but like, I do think, a lot of, like, George's writing process is fascinating. I think the themes that he put in there are fascinating. I think even the stuff about his, like, personal life and stuff like that was fascinating. What he draws on from other material is fascinating too. I think there's a lot there. I mean, we've been talking about it for this many years, so there's got to be a lot to it, right? So, but the theory videos, I guess it just makes you think. It makes you think, like, how much one can plan and how much one can look at the details and think about possibilities of the details, or how many plot holes there are and how you can cover for a plot hole with an interesting theory. So who knows? But I'd say your theory videos are still great. No, I mean, I'm very proud of them. They're really fun videos. I mean, like I say, like, I can pop on, like, Frey and the Snow or something, and I'm like, oh shit, did a lot of work on this, and this is pretty cool. Or, like, even, like, Frey Civil War, I'm like, oh my god, I cannot believe I did this research. So, like, I'm just like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, whoa, my god, like, going through, like, the family trees on that. But most of them, yeah, if I replay them, I'm like, wow, these are pretty cool. I really like them. Thank you, Yana John. Binge culture equals doom scrolling. I think a lot of people binging, like, means they're also, like, on their phone at the same time, because you can't keep attention for 6 hours, 8 hours at a time, right? Carmine, no one gives a fuck about the Sand Snakes. Season 5's writing for shit, except the big spectacle moments. I'm completely completely true. Sand snakes are just an element of the entire thing being not great. Um,
Uh, my man here didn't pay attention to what I said, as per usual. I said when a lot of the new Game of Thrones YouTubers flooded the scene, all they did was bitch about the sand snakes. I'm not saying the
yeah,
sand snakes are the only thing wrong with it. Lots wrong with season 5, but that
I
was
mean,
just
that's
what
the
was
thing is
flooding.
they're easy pickings. They're easy pickings because one, it's a
It
bunch of
was.
girls. It's a bunch of girls in a boy property. Like, and
Hmm.
yes, they do suck, and so but like so much is driven by the easy pickings. Of all the things wrong with season 5, they're just one thing of many. Yeah, but um,
Exactly. Like I said, like a bunch of people just flooded. They had nothing to say. They were new YouTubers, and that's all they just kept bitching about. But no, like the Theon Sansa thing. I'm sorry, the Ramsey Sansa thing. We could go on and on.
Devil's Advocate, when D&D had 80% of source material, 20% invented, they rocked it. But when it was 2080, it sucked. Do you think so? Dunk will be terrible starting season 4.
that's
I mean, it's a
that's
very good point. It's a very good
it
point.
is. It is.
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, probably. Probably. I mean, also a lot happens with regards to when you are an unknown and you want to fucking make it and you are putting your all into something to make it perfect, um you're gonna try your hardest. And so like this is Ira Parker trying his hardest at something. He may get to the point where like he might get arrogant and all of a sudden like take his foot off the gas like D&D did, you know. um
The thing about Dave and Dan is that, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, they tapped into some of frustrations of book readers about everything being point of views, and they fixed it. For example, going through the original book, I wanted kind of a point of view with Joffrey and another character that's not a point of view,
mm.
and we got that. There's an underrated scene with Joffrey and Cersei in season 1 where he actually kind of makes sense about having a standing army. It
Oh
makes
yeah,
like
or
I
The
understand.
Joffrey and Tywin scene where he's like asking
Right.
him about dragons. Yeah,
Like you would never get these in the book, so they kind of fixed a couple of complaints that some book fans like myself had. Like I wanted these scenes with these characters that are not in point of view chat. So, but the
yeah,
super
yeah.
chat is 100% correct. Like retired devil, you are 100% correct on this. Will Duncan Egg start to suck at season 4?
We'll see.
That's we'll
I mean,
see.
most shows start sucking like in later seasons, right? Like it's.
Do they?
I mean, not everything can be Deep Space Nine, where it just gets better and better.
Ooh, that's so
Um,
true.
I mean, most shows get worse over time. They maybe take a little time to get into it, and then they get strong, and then they peter out near the end, right? Um,
What is a show that had like phenomenal seasons throughout? I know one show I watched recently, but if I say it, you're gonna yell at me.
like consistently, the whole show is good every single fucking season.
That's not well, not every episode, but for the most part, all the seasons are pretty
I mean,
decent. I know
people would
one show, but
probably say Breaking Bad.
sure, 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 sure.
Um,
I
I'm
like I
trying.
like The Expanse. Actually, the first couple seasons of The Expanse, but they're okay. It got better as it went
I mean,
along.
I feel the reverse. I like season 1 the most. Yeah, I feel it kind of goes
Really, of
down.
The Expanse, it
Uh,
wasn't bad, but like The Expanse got better as it went along.
but it's just what I like. I like feeling the realism of season 1. The realism of being in space and things like that. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes more fantastical as time goes on. I'm trying to think of another show that was just like every season is fucking good and it's just solid. Because even The Wire, not every season is like season 5 is not good.
There's
Even
one
though,
show that I've been trying to like drag your ass to watch. I think it's the true successor to Star Trek, The Orville. I think The Orville
mm,
every season is amazing. I feel
yeah,
like if you actually sat down and watched The Orville, you'd really like it. The reason people are hesitant on that is because it's Seth MacFarlane and he's the comedy Family guy.
right.
So
I mean, it's easier when you think of like shows that are really short. Like The Leftovers only has
Andor,
3 seasons, so it's like, well, is left. It's all good because it's only 3 seasons. So it's like you kind of have to have like a premise. Like, okay, does it have to be like minimum of 4 or 5 seasons before I start like thinking about that? Um, but it's hard to have every single season rock. I'm sure somebody in the
Does
comments.
Andor count, or do we
Right,
need
it's only got
like
2 seasons. Like, does that really count?
right? Mm, mm.
I didn't watch all of Mad Men. Some people say Deadwood. Um,
Yo, sorry and get me. I'm trying not to say it because Preston will yell at me.
Which one?
Don't worry about it.
Carmine's gonna say BSG. BSG, I would fucking disown Carmine if he said BSG. Oh my god, what a betrayal! See, this is the thing. This is the thing is Battlestar Galactica was pre-binge, right? Pre-binge world. We've talked about this before, but like it was so different when like everyone for a fucking week is like, what? Oh my god, what's gonna happen next week? And then there's like these breaks, and you're like, fuck. After the sweeps, like, who are the final 5? And then you get to it, it's massive fucking letdown. Whole thing's a fucking letdown. When you binged it, you had no stakes. You had no heart in it like the rest of us. See, here's the thing. As much as you claim you like Battlestar Galactica, you were never in love with Battlestar Galactica like
what do you mean?
The rest of
yes,
us.
I was.
No, you weren't.
No, yeah, I wasn't there.
You were never fucking
I wasn't there.
No. This is the equivalent of being like married to someone, having them cheat on you and break your heart and being devastated. And then you coming in and being like, I had lunch with her. She seemed like a good person. You just had lunch with her. You did not have a fucking relationship with her like the rest of us did. The rest of us had a fucking relationship with Battlestar Galactica, and it fucking was horrible. Okay? Like, it was a horrible, traumatic fucking relationship because it was a fucking horrible like ending. They just fucking dropped. Last 2 seasons were just shit. It was so fucking good in the beginning. It was so fucking good.
When Adama, this person here, Carmine, admittedly didn't jump off the couch when Adama got shot. I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? What? The craziest moment to me in Battlestar was that episode, the halfway point of season 2, when another fucking Battlestar shows up.
Oh my god!
Like,
yes, my god, of course,
another Battlestar. Is it a Cylon trap? The fucking like anxiety, like this is a Cylon trap. Like, the anxiety was there.
Now hold that anxiety for fucking months. like, okay, you're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Play. Like, when there's that was just totally different. Totally different. Dude. The rest of us went through the fucking ringer.
My heart dropped when they finally got to their destination and it was a fucking destroyed Earth. That would have been like the best ending possible for the show.
Yeah, well, the rest of us had to deal with a whole fucking like months until the next episode. But okay, you know. All right. Wars between Chestnut and Sweetfoot stands are brutal. First of all, who can be a fucking Sweetfoot fan? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you should be a Chestnut fan. Fuck Sweetfoot. Fucking Sweetfoot. Sweetfoot fans. Really? Are there stands for Sweetfoot? I can't believe this.
I have no idea. What he's talking about. I have no. Are there? I don't know.
Hey Preston, here's $4. Red Team Review told me to donate to you on Discord. Also sent you a message in your Patreon about a problem with your super chat. Well, first of all, I don't need donations. I tell everyone I don't need any of this shit. I feel bad when people like put in the chat, so then I have to answer the chat the super chat questions. But again,
you're very good about that, by the way. You're very good about giving people a lot of time for their cash. You're very good about that.
that's the main thing. Look, I tell people over and over again, I'm not a starving artist. I'm fine. Okay. I
You're
appreciate
starving for time.
I appreciate you as fans. Um, I appreciate money. Sure, who doesn't like money? But like, I don't really need it. I'm doing fine. Um, and so Carmine and Nuke Marine have been having fights. These two have been fighting it
Have
out.
we?
I don't
Have
know. I
we been
thought you.
having fights?
I guess you guys been having fights.
Leave Nuke Marine alone. He's a 52-year-old man. He's also very tired and kind of bored, so leave him
Why are
alone.
you outing people like online, Carmine?
Leave him alone.
Carmine's 34.
How dare you? I'm actually 29. I was last year, and I am again next year.
Yeah. Well,
Also, come on. I love battle. To this, what this person said here. I love battles. Don't listen to him. My love for Battlestar Galactica, it was the same as his going week to week. Just because I wasn't waiting month to month. Don't listen to him.
yeah.
How dare you?
Production can still happen, but they schedule around a child's availability. Eggs not never seen after all. No, I mean that's all very true. I'm kind of going with what Ira Parker kind of said about it, which was out of his mouth. He may be bullshitting. Maybe he's spent all of the fucking money on cocaine, and that he's taken all of the season 2 money and it's on cocaine, and he's like, it's the same costs, and everyone's like, where did the fucking money go? And he's like, child actors, man, child actors. Thanks for all your hard work on the content you make for us. Very much appreciated. Thoughts on the Iran situation? World War III. What are we doing? What are we doing, man? Carmine, thoughts on Iran? Just
I don't know. You were there
the
last week. What's going
Epstein
on?
war. How
You
many
were there
things can
last
be
week. What's
done
going on?
to distract us from the Epstein files? Oh my god. It's
I don't know. You tell me.
just what's the worst ideas ever? How can just such fucking bad ideas? Just like horrible fucking ideas. Like why would any like would everybody for all these years is like, yeah, let's not attack Iran. That's a really bad fucking idea for so many reasons. And here to distract from the Epstein files, we have an attack on Iran that's going to drive up all of your gas prices and destroy the economy and kill lots of people. Fucking they dropped a bomb on like uh, girls' school of what 175 people. Bad times. I don't think there's any good solution to this. I think that the best case scenario is that they pull what they did in Venezuela and they just go, yeah, complete success, and then they just want to kind of leave and ignore it, and you're like, oh, and everything is exactly the same, and they pretend they won. Like this is what they can do. Like this is what they should do with Iran. Is they should just like be like, we won, and then leave, and then just like hope everything is like okay. Like that's what that's definitely what people are trying to get him to do, but depends how much he wants to fucking distract from the Epstein files and whatever fucking crazy people are whispering in his ear. Because man, he's a fucking idiot. What a fucking who wanted this? Who wanted another middle like forever war in the Middle East? And who wants another one in Cuba? And oh my god, like what are we fucking doing?
Another war in the Middle East. Every single Republican president, every time.
Every time, man. Do they ever fucking learn? Do they ever fucking learn? Does America ever fucking learn? Like, it just like really, man. Like we had Iraq and Afghanistan, and we've only been out of Afghanistan for like 4 years, and people have all of a sudden forgot. Like, oh shit. What I love is when people are like, oh, we can't afford all of this like healthcare, and you're like, oh god, really? We can't afford it because we're dropping it in bomb form on countries. Oh my god, just such fucking disaster, man. Fucking the world. Um, does a Targ have to die sacrificed for a dragon to be born? At Conquest, there's 3 dragons, 3 Targs. Number increases, say J1 up to Dance of the Dragons. That's like Department of Defense. Um, J1 is also like a military thing. They have like J1, J2, J3. Like each one stands for a different thing. Like one's like command and control, and one is like management. One of information. But they just number them J's, so it's super confusing because like unless you're in the military, you're like what's J9? Like what the fuck is that? But yeah. But yes, increase from Jaehaerys the First to Dance of the Dragons when at the time there's a lot of young deaths and stillborn Targs. Any correlation? So the number of dragons doesn't really increase much until Rhaenyra, when you really think about it, because you're talking like you've got 3 dragons, 1 dies during the conquest, so you got 2 dragons. Then you've got Quicksilver dies. You get Dreamfire, Silverwing, and Tessarion, not Tessarion, but whatever is it? What's Vermithor? I mean Vermithor and Silverwing, and then we get Caraxes and Rhaenys' dragon. Fucking forgetting all of these fucking dragon names. And so when you really like go through the years, you're like, oh, new dragon born every fucking like 20 years, like 15 years. It's not that many new dragons. And then all of a sudden, Rhaenyra comes along and it's just explosion. You go from like 5 or 6 dragons to like, the upper teens, 17 or 18 dragons. And so it's really the correlation is Rhaenyra. I don't think it has to do with how many Targaryens are dying or being sacrificed. Because Jaehaerys has a huge family and they're all dying right and left, and it's not producing dragons. And Aenys had a lot of kids, and they're there's plenty of Targaryens dying before and after these periods. I think the real thing is Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra, there's something special about Rhaenyra. It's why the world is against Rhaenyra, and they're so illogically against Rhaenyra. There's something very special about Rhaenyra and Rhaenyra's abilities, and I think she's the one hatching dragons. Now, that said, like discussions about hatchlings on Dragonstone, changes like interferes with that. Like if I would say there's another weakness to the Dragon X stuff, is that there's a lot of discussion of all these hatchlings on Dragonstone, and it's like, well, Rhaenyra's not even fucking on Dragonstone, so like where the fuck are these? How are these hatchlings getting produced? So I don't know, but the when a lot of the dragon stuff is going on, but I've got some explanations that Rhaenys, the queen that never was, and Rhaenyra are both special. Then you get a whole bunch of fucking hatchling eggs to explain the stuff on Driftmark and to explain the stuff in King's Landing and stuff like that. So I think it more has to do with the women, and it might have. I suspect it has something to do with pregnancy. And this is just based on Daenerys. Like Daenerys is pregnant, and she has her eggs hatch. The real question I think a lot of people make is, okay, if Rhaego didn't die, would the dragons hatch? Because that in that situation, because you're right that in the Daenerys story, like there does seem to be a sacrifice element to Mirren Mazdur's magic and all of this. So they're certainly introducing this concept that there's some sort of sacrifice going on. But in the end, I think it sounds like, I guess the element is pregnant women. Pregnant women is the element to me. If I were looking at the most correlations of what's going on with like how dragons are hatching, that you need a special woman like Rhaenyra, and you need that special woman to be pregnant. Would be my guess. But I don't think there's much correlation between like the deaths. You know, Targaryens are dying all the time. You know, and you still don't end up with dragons. You know, I mean, certainly after the dance, certainly after Aegon the Third, you get plenty of Targaryens dying, and there's nothing being born. So I think you need the special gene woman, and I think you need pregnancy. Who cock-blocked Ned from Ashara, Dane, Bran, or Bloodraven? It's true that Bloodraven is in the tree, right? He's in the tree at the time. So how could he? Let's see. Could he cock-block? Let me think about this. Certainly when George first came up with the concept of Harrenhal tourney, he had no concept of Bloodraven. But I don't know if he also even had a concept of like the love triangle idea of Brandon and him and Ashara too. You know, George probably didn't exactly know what the Harrenhal tourney was about, or Starfall, and was mystery boxing the whole thing. And it was like, I'm just going to figure it out later. But yeah, I mean, I think that based on George's other writings, like it would be his brother, if it would be like the cock blocking. Like you have to think of something super painful and embarrassing and brutal when it comes to like relationships, you know? Like really, and because that's just how all George's like stories are. But like, think about Tyrion for a second. Okay, what is more hurtful than finding your girlfriend in bed with your dad? Like, fuck, right? Like, oh, that's hurtful. I mean, they did a whole movie called Damage about this with Jeremy Irons. And like, it's just like, it's just such a brutal fucking thing. Like your dad is sending you to the wall and fucking your girlfriend. Oh my God. Like that's just fucking brutal. Right? Someone that should in a normal world care about you, is just like, doesn't fucking care. And it just does not. And it's just going to fucking humiliate you and push you down to like just less than zero. So, you know, you gotta think like, what's the most embarrassing, worst kind of situation here? You know, I mean, the worst situation would be like, you know, you get into some bad like shame Japanese erotica or something where like Ned goes into his tent and Benjen and Brandon are having their way with Ashara Dane. Like that would be the worst of the worst, but that goes a little too far. But like, yeah, like Ned like finding out that or thinking that Ashara was with Brandon is fucking painful, right? And once you get into that painful stuff, you're like, oh, now you're getting to George. Like now you're getting. That's George's writing style. What's the most painful thing, you know? That's when it starts getting dark. But yeah, that's my guess on that. Did you guys see that 2 Aegon Conquest projects are believed to be in production? Carmine, did you hear about 2 different ones?
No. this person has it confused. It was that movie I told you about
You
that
said
they
two movies are being
one movie being written by
considered,
the
but we
Andor
don't know
writer.
what the second movie is about.
Right. We don't know if it's actually like Aegon's conquest or what's going on there. We don't know what's really happening with that movie. We know there's an Aegon conquest movie or show, but we don't know what the other movie's about that's being written by the Andor writer.
Okay. So it could be about anything, but I think the confusion is that we heard that the movie was about Aegon's conquest, and now we're hearing that there's two movies. So maybe one of like the idea was that there were two Aegon conquest movies, but no, it's one Aegon conquest movie and one unknown plot movie from the creator of Andor, showrunner of Andor. Yeah. Okay. Still gonna collab with Bookborn about the Thousand Worlds. Yeah. No, I plan on it. I plan on contacting her and because she went and read a bunch of the Thousand Worlds stories and was ranking them, and I do want to talk to her about it because we have different opinions, namely about my favorite George R. R. Martin story. She said was like a miss, which is the Glass Flower. I love the Glass Flower. I suspect I understand like why she it doesn't connect with her, but it's just little differences like that will be fun to talk about, like why I love the Glass Flower and why it was just a miss for her or something like that. But yeah, no, I plan on doing a collab and talking about it. It should be pretty exciting. I always thought Jon would be called Viserys, and in that way, his dragon would be Viserion instead of Rhaegal. The dragon is even white. Oh, Viserys and Viserion. It'd be kind of weird. Danny would be kind of weird. Wouldn't she be weirded out to find out? I mean, that would be another reason for her to be weirded out about the situation. Like, Jon's name is Viserys. Man, oh man. It is kind of weird. Though, I mean, I'm trying like in my life I've dated women with my sister's name, but my sister's name is common. So it's like not something I really like considered or thought about. But it's just like do people think and consider that, when something like Viserys, where there's only one living Viserys, do you think about it? Is it weird when with Jon were named Viserys? If the second Dance of the Dragons has dragons versus dragons, how will that work? Victarion claims one and joins Aegon. Well, I mean, for this reason, I thought it's logistically speaking, I think it's very important for Quentin to be alive. Because you need to have someone deliver a dragon to Aegon. And so the idea is that, okay, if Quentin delivers the one dragon to Aegon, then you've got a one-on-one situation, and the Ironborn are doing something else. I'm trying to think logistically, like if it would work, if it were different. Like, what if Victarion comes back with a dragon? Would he have any motivation to go to Aegon? Like he decides that, like, oh fuck, like Dany's gonna come back, because is he focused on his brother? Is he focused on Dany? He's kind of in the middle there now, right? Is he what is he getting out from Aegon? Like it's odd. It's something that, like, it's a good question, but I'm trying to think of a situation where Victarion would want to submit to Aegon and what he would get out of that. Because at that point, Victarion would have a huge fucking fleet. He would have this dragon. Okay. And then he lands and Aegon is in the middle of conquering Westeros. And he just goes, "Hey, I'm your man, Daenerys is coming. Because from Aegon's perspective, he thinks that when Dany's going to land, she's going to be ready to marry him. Like they're not fighting yet. And Victarion still thinks that he can maybe marry like Daenerys. So like they should be rivals in the sense that they both want to marry Daenerys. Be very, like Quentin is spurned already, knows he's not going to marry Daenerys. So like when he returns back with the dragon, he has motivation to go to Aegon. Not to mention the Ironborn connection. I mean the Ironwood connections and things like that to the Blackfires and stuff like that. Or Arianne making inroads with them and things like that. Like there's avenues for a Quentin delivery, logistically speaking. But like Victarion, what is he doing there? What is he doing there, right? Like how do you deliver? That's a good question. Like if not Quentin, how does Victarion's dragon get delivered? How do the dragons get delivered to him? Victarion is the only other option. I don't know how you do that. I don't know why Victarion would suddenly be like, yeah, totally pro Aegon now. Okay. How? Why? We have nothing in there that like, so which is why I think logistically it just works better with Quentin. How tempting was it to give Tyene the name Teeny? Because she's small? Or because someone else would call, if you knew someone named Tyene, you'd call her Teeny? Or you're talking about in the fanfic rather than having, I think we gave her the name Nayit. Because the only thing with like, it was like, okay, in the fanfic, we were like, Sorella is a Laros. And so, you can take Tyene in reverse, which is Anit, and which is kind of weird spelling and so obviously weird that someone would be alerted to it. While like Nayit sounds like a name as much as Tyene does, and so somebody might pass over the fact. So it's still like an anagram, but I see what you're saying though with Teeny, because that's another anagram of it. I guess I never thought of Teeny as being the anagram as much as I like moved the letters around. It was always like Nayit. Nayit or Anit. But yeah, I never even considered Teeny. Showmate Egg joined Dunk without Makar knowing. Could this cause a George R. R. Martin style butterfly effect for adapting the Mystery Knight, especially when Egg reveals his royal ring to Lord Butterwell? So, like in the show, when you have the source material there is like, George has these like concerns about toxic butterflies, but I think it's a little overstated when you can just forget. Like writers often just are just like, let's forget that happened, and then like revert to the fucking like show events. And that's what happened in the show with, say, like Robb and his Volantis woman instead of Jane Westerling, which is an enormous fucking change when you think about it. So obviously, like Talisa was created in the show for one reason and one reason only, and that is Robb Stark is not really much of a character in A Clash of Kings. And Meanwhile, they hired this actor for season 1, and he needs to be in season 3, obviously. So what do you do with him for a season? You know, in the book, he's off having battles. And that's expensive to just show him being in battles and such. So they needed to give him some sort of plot. So they gave him a romance plot. With Talisa that went on and on. The one reason why they did it, rather than doing the Jane Westerling thing, which was he gets injured and then he just has sex with her and then he marries her. There's not much to it. Versus Talisa, where she's sassing kings on the battlefield, and then building up. Okay, so. Was there a toxic butterfly effect with that? Well, not really. Robb gets killed, and then they just kill Talisa. Jane Westerling is still alive in the books. Maybe she'll have a big role. D&D weren't betting on it, and so it didn't go anywhere. Like George's example of like the toxic butterflies. Like, okay, you remove this one baby that's later going to be torn apart and killed in a random scene later on. Okay, that random scene later on doesn't happen because the baby never existed in the first place. It's not that big a deal. What they're gonna have a scene at the beginning of season 2 to try to deal with the Maekar stuff, and so he will get the permission. But like all that ring, they're just gonna ignore it. Like they're just going to revert back. That's the thing, is when there's the source material somewhat there, you have to revert back. So the toxic butterflies don't actually like affect that much, Like you could say, "Oh man, what's going to happen? How are you going to deal with it?" They'll write something in. They'll write something in. Someone will die. It's like, "Oh, you didn't kill this person on this day." Well, you're just going to kill him later. It's like like I'm trying to think of some other like toxic butterfly situations in the show, and like the problem is a lot of them we don't know if like they'll actually affect anything. Like this, like Silver is still alive in the books, killed off in the show. Here's a good one. Daria. Okay, they kept Daria alive longer in the show so they could kill her at the end of season 2 rather than having her die in the Red Waste at the beginning of where they should with Karth. She lasts all the way to the end of Karth and then dies. So does it matter that like Daria, like they made this change with Daria? Well, it fixed up, they fixed it. So, these writers can fix stuff. It's not that big a deal. Oh man, I'm so far behind. This is back with Robb's will. Yeah, he does use the ring and sword too. That's true. We don't know that Robb's will says Jon. In fact, even George was once confronted about it, and he's like, "Yeah, we know. Yeah, it might come back. We don't actually know if it's George. We don't know if it's Jon." Not that it's even important. It's just not important at all to the plot. Would George have finished the books if the original show never got picked up by HBO? Yes, of course he would have. Of course he would have. What else would be?
The hunger was there. He was hungry. Now he's not anymore.
Yeah, of course. What else would he have been doing with his time? I mean, it goes without saying. Like, Jesus. It's like, it's like asking, like, if Preston Jacobs didn't have 2 children, would he have finished The Winds of Winter by now? Yes, he would have. Like, what do you, like, of course I would have. Do you know how much fucking time, like, do you know how much fucking time all this other fucking shit that George has in his life takes from him? Takes it all. It takes it all. The fucking hundreds of millions of dollars, the managing his empire, the shows, the fire and blood, the cons, the interviews, the stage plays. Like, of course, that fucking takes all his fucking time. Producing these mini movies. It's all, of course. I mean, which kind of makes you think, like, fuck, like, God damn it, why didn't Robert Jordan finish Wheel of Time? Then again, he did write so many more books, so. And so much faster too. Wheel of Time. I mean, he wrote a book a year. Varys or Littlefinger, who's worse for Westeros? These very different questions of, like, some people would ask, like, who's a worse person, Varys or Littlefinger? I would say that Littlefinger is slightly worse than Varys, but they're both horrible people. They're both very, very bad. Who's worse for Westeros? I think Varys is dealing with larger scale armies coming in and invading, while Littlefinger is dealing with, like, smaller scale instability and, like, infighting among, like, the royals. So Varys's actions can potentially lead to much more death than Littlefinger's actions. You know, Littlefinger is a slightly worse human being than, like, it's hard for me to, like, picture, like, Littlefinger. His actions towards Jane Poole are so disgusting that it like, once you think, like, about what Littlefinger did to Jane Poole, and how he was right fucking there, doing that, that's fucking evil. Like, Varys, yeah, he orders kids to have their tongues removed, but it's, like, somewhat more abstract because he's not there. He's ordering them, like, from afar. Like, it's both horrible, but there's something more horrible about the person who is right there allowing the evil act to occur versus, like, someone abstractly. I mean, when I talk about this, I'm like, when you buy your shoes, they're made in, like, slave labor in Vietnam, but it's far away, so you're not thinking about it, right? Varys is kind of like, he has slight advantage. So I think Varys is worse for Westeros, even though Littlefinger is a worse human being. Carmine, what's your opinion?
I'm a Littlefinger fan, homie, so I'm going to go with my boy Littlefinger simply because
worse.
he's so entertaining. He's so interesting and entertaining. Just moving the plot along without even have to lift a sword.
I mean, he's much more fun. He's wittier and he's more fun.
But then again, Varys out of nowhere at the end of Dance, I just love that. I don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I still can't get over the whole your Battlestar Galactica rant. I still can't get over this. I'm sorry, man. Like, I know
people that were there agree with me. See, Dragon Demands is like, he was there.
I know. Like, but the lawyer,
you didn't
go
through it, man.
Lawyer. Come on.
You had lunch with the lawyer. You had lunch with Battlestar Galactica. The rest of us were married to her.
The scenes with the lawyer. Stop! Please never do the analogy again, please.
Like Kingsmoot, is the Blackfire Rebellion small versus big houses? I don't think I don't think the Kingsmoot is necessarily small versus big houses. It's kind of, I mean, it's true that like Euron gets a lot of the dishonorable houses, but like they're not necessarily poor houses. Like House Cod, yeah, they're pieces of shit that everyone hates, but they're not poor. I mean, just like House Frey is a piece of shit house that no one respects, but it doesn't mean they're not like rich. Like House Cod could be a rich house. Kingsmoot, I did a video on this about like, okay, you've got like 1/3 of the houses are Greenland sympathizing houses that kind of want to move the Iron Islands towards Greenland society. Thus you get the Black Tides and the Botleys and they're all with Asha, who has a very reasonable assimilation idea about getting land on the Stony Shore and things like that. And then you've got like the Reaver houses that just want to keep the warmongering of Balon going, and they're like the other third, because they're making, they really like the religious idea of like the Iron Price and all of that. And then you've got all the ones that just don't fucking have any respect, and they're just pieces of shit, and they're just in it for themselves. And they're the ones that going for Euron. But I don't know if it's necessarily like the big houses versus the small houses, like I'm trying to think if I open up let me real quick look at the house list again. It's an interesting discussion though. They're listed in the appendix because about her, like the champions and which houses. So like, like the Harlaws, who are like enormous house, they're split between Victarion and Asha. And then meanwhile, like Euron, he doesn't have House Meyer. He's got House Cod, House Humble. So it's not, he doesn't have, and he has House Orkwood too. And Saltcliffe. So it's not, he doesn't have, he's got some big houses. Like they all have big houses. The Blackfire Rebellion, yeah, like maybe now is the Blackfire Rebellion small versus big houses? I mean, George kind of fucked up in that, okay, he created this world, right? And he listed all the fucking houses, and we kind of know all the big houses, and we know the secondary big houses, okay? And then he invented this fucking Blackfire Rebellion later on and is retroactively like shoving it into the history. And you're like, okay, where you're saying half the kingdom went for the fucking Blackfires, but it was like none of the fucking massively big houses that we know of, or the secondary ones. I mean, it's possible that the Baratheons were Blackfire supporters, but those are the only ones, like out of because we know Martell wasn't, and we know that Tyrell wasn't, and we know Lannister wasn't, and we know that Tully wasn't, and we know Aaron wasn't. So like, who the fuck supported the Blackfires then? Like, Jesus Christ. And you're like, well, it's got to be a whole bunch of little houses, I guess. Little houses we've never heard of. And this is mainly just the function of like, oh, could you fucking retroactively created something, shoved it into the history, and then somebody needs to support them. I guess it was a bunch of houses we never fucking heard of. So, I mean, I guess it has to be the big versus the small houses, because nothing else seems to fucking make sense. But I guess that has to be it. But it's mainly just a function of like George created a world and then retroactively shoved this huge important thing into that world, which was the Blackfire Rebellion. Halfway through. It's fucking in the middle of a storm of swords. He's like, I got this idea. Blackfire Rebellion. Oh, jeez.
Lawyer, man. The lawyer. I'm sorry, but the lawyer was so good.
Oh, yeah?
From Battlestar, season 3, and he becomes president in the end. Come on. Come on.
We don't know if it's two rival Aegon conquest projects or if it's a pilot movie followed by a TV series. Huh. So there is a bunch of more talk that it might be two Aegon projects.
Mattson Tomlin, who wrote the Batman, he said he was pretty far along writing the script for it. So
really?
Unless they're throwing that out.
Victarion equals Lope de Aguirre. I've got to, when I search for stuff, especially if it's Spanish, they send me to Spanish Wikipedia. Basque Spanish conquistador who was active in South America. Oh, interesting. Nicknamed the Madman. He styled himself the Wrath of God. Oh, fascinating. He seized the Isla Margarita and suppressed opposition, killing the governor. His body was beheaded and cut into quarters. Nice. With the pieces being sent to nearby towns as a warning. Huh. Well, I mean, I definitely see the parallels, you know, in that you've got this traveling seaman from afar in this foreign world he doesn't understand, playing devil's advocate. George's Middle Ages knowledge isn't that focused on Spain. I mean, even though like people are like, oh, but the Dornish, well, it's like a very general kind of sense. I'm sure he's read El Cid, but like, you know, it's like, yeah, he's taking a lot of elements of different cultures and throwing it in there with Dorne. He's more focused on British history more than anything else. And as opposed to Victarion, you know, I guess he wanted Victarion. He did plan on having Victarion die, like just make it to Essos and then die. And the fact that he's kept him alive is because the character became really fucking funny and interesting. So, you know, was George thinking about this guy? Probably not, but it's fun nonetheless. But it says he essentially, the big parallel, I suppose, that's different, that's interesting, is that he went, once he got there, his letter that was drafted to allow him to do everything, he then renounced the Spanish and started doing his own thing. Which you know would parallel to Victarion doing his own thing. But you know, George changed his mind. He changed his mind about Victarion. But nonetheless, that's fun. That's an interesting guy. Okay. Okay. Um, in my opinion, Roy Dotrice's lines deliveries, excluding the racist ones, sound more fitting and impactful than 99% of Game of Thrones. Should casting actors take inspiration from the audiobook in future adaptations? Cheers. I think Roy Dotrice does a fantastic job. I think his skills decline quite a bit on Dance with Dragons, but for the first four books, he does a really good job. Fucking fantastic voice work, obviously. And I started comparing this. So everyone's been recommending Joe Abercrombie. I decided to listen to The Blade itself. And it's just funny listening to like an audiobook that's done by somebody that you just kind of like aren't meshing with, you know, like you're like, oh, this is hard. This is not what I was expecting, you know, like from because Roy Dotrice's reading is so good. And you know, it's not like, you know, there aren't other fucking great audiobook readers. I mean, I think that Harry Lloyd does a fucking fantastic job of reading Dunk and Egg. And Jorah Mormont actor actually reads Dying of the Light if you ever want to listen to Dying of the Light. And he reads it. And he also does Fever Dream. If you want to read Fever Dream, it's done by Jorah. But yeah, but I would say that my big problem right now with listening to this audiobook is like, oh, I don't know if I'm digging the guy reading this. So Roy Dotrice, yeah, he's a fucking legend. He's a fucking legend. He's fucking great. And I think that like a lot of people don't realize, yeah, how important Roy Dotrice is in people's fanaticism for the books, because they're the ones, he's the one making it so entertaining. It was a fucking really great choice to use him. Obviously George knew him from Beauty and the Beast, and so he used him. Carmine, you're a fan of Roy Dotrice, right?
He's okay. I just don't like how he says certain names,
He
which has
he
led on to
pronounces
you
names really weird a lot. Yes,
like Pitar,
yeah,
Brian. Not a
Brian,
fan.
Qatar, yeah,
To be fair, I'm also not a fan how you pronounce Varys.
whatever, various Varis, whatever. It doesn't matter. You get over it. I mean, it turns out you don't say the names that much, really, but it's whatever. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I mean, everything, an actor changes and interprets lines so much when he speaks them. And, you know, if it's not done quite right, you know, he can completely change interpretation of scene by how it's delivered. You know, I'm actually thinking of a few spots in A Feast for Crows where Roy Dotrice really fucks up and says things completely wrong, and I'm just like, that's not how that scene should go. Specifically, the Queenmaker chapter. He does a really bad job of the Queenmaker chapter, but on the delivery of people's lines. But I'm like, well, you know, it's fine. I still fucking love Roy Dotrice. Carmine, I guess, doesn't love him so much. Oh, this person's like, Stephen Pacey is one of the GOAT narrators. I don't know. I don't know what it is about Stephen Pacey. Is just like not hitting me. I think it's the way he describes action. I think he's better. I think he's okay with the character work. The character work is great. I don't think I like how he reads the action scenes. But you're right that I think the important thing is the character stuff. So I think he's good with the character stuff, but yeah, like when people are sword fighting or whatever, it's just that's just not how I would have it. You know, that's not how I would read it. But We saying Detroit is good now. Detroit is great in the first. Okay, the first three. She sounds like your grandpa offering you something from a candy jar. Of course, he's a fucking old man. Ian Glenn is really fucking good. Um, yeah, Larry Lloyd is great. Brian Patire. Oh, he does. Oh, Andy Serkis tries to do Tolkien. That's funny. Yeah, most of the names are just odd spelling normal names. It's it's funny. I think someone I was listening to something way back, and they were making a joke about how Game of Thrones had named a character Kevin, and he's like, really Kevin, and he thought Kevin was like the least Middle Ages name, and he was just mocking Kevin all day long, and people had to be like, dude, Kevin's from the book. You know, like, and he's like, oh, and he had to apologize for like mocking Kevin and how stupid Kevin was. Um, but George R. R. Martin does that. I mean, like Tyrion's uncle is Gary. I know when the fans talk about Garyon Lannister, they call him Garyon, but he's Uncle Gary. Like he's more often Uncle Garyon than he is, or he's more often Uncle Gary than he is Garyon. But no one ever calls him. They forget that like their uncle is Gary, Uncle Gary, and Benjen is called Uncle Ben. Like a lot of the time. I don't know if it's most of the time, but he's called Uncle Ben a lot. Like very clear, like um, Spider-Man reference, you know, like just he's just Uncle Ben. So uh he, George loves the fucking bad name, like having modern names in there. Gary, my Uncle Gary. Guess they should try to think of some other bad, like a name that would be a nice and fire name, you know. Like he's already got um has anyone called Bobby? I know we call Robert Bobby B, but like, are there any Bobbies in the show? I mean, we've got Dick Crab, we got a Richard as a Dick, but like, you know, I'm trying to think of a bad name that would be in there. Um, that he just takes regular names and spells them weird, and there should be a Tiffany because I think is Tiffany actually a middle aged name? I think it's
Yes.
actually a Middle Ages name,
It's
right?
called the Tiffany problem. Like it's such
Yeah.
a modern name that you wouldn't think it would have been in medieval times, but it was, or a
You'd
version
think
of it.
there'd be a Tyffany Tiffany in the story, right? Like from the Westerlands, Tiffany. Right? You'd think that would be there. Will Randall Tarley betray the Tyrells like in the show? Yeah, I think it's set up like that. I think it's set up that Randall Tarley um, is going to be ambitious and he's been given a lot of power, an unusual amount of power, all of a sudden in the books, and um, I mean, when you think about it, like he's coming to the King's Landing area with his army. We're specifically told that Tarly has an army and that Mace Tyrell has an army, and Mace Tyrell is supposed to go off and fight John Connington. Well, who does that leave with all the fucking power? Well, Rand Tarly. And we know that we need to have Aegon take King's Landing fast and take control of the kingdom fast so that he can set up for Second Test of the Dragon. So yeah, it's gotta be. It's kind of like logistically, it has to happen for things to kind of fit together. Yeah, but Aguirre film also ends with him with a boat infested with monkeys, just like Victorian. He also was a mute lover. Interesting. What? Now I've got to look up what are the when was it? what movie was this? Jungle Cruise? El Dorado? Aguirre, The Wrath of God. Is that Gerard Depardieu? No. Why did it? I could swear like I saw Gerard Depardieu's like face come up here for something. I don't know what it was. Why did that come up? Was he in El Dorado? I don't know. No, he's not. I don't know why this came up. Why something like that came up. Oh, because I hit Klaus Kinski, and the German actor from this view. He doesn't look like him at all. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, but yeah, I'm totally thinking that he's going to. Um, but as for like, do I think? Do I think that Fagon and Dorne and Iron Islands derailed the story? See, this is this weird thing. Like, I would say that most readers, like, they're definitely waiting for the sequel to A Storm of Swords, and they're still waiting for the sequel to A Storm of Swords, and it's not here, right? And when they think that the story is going to come together, they're like, oh, John and Dany, they need to fight the others, and when they think about the plots going forward, they invent these theories about like the Northern conspiracy and everybody supporting Jon and Jon becoming king and stuff like that. And the stories don't really focus very much like theories and what's in people's minds about where the story's going. It doesn't seem to focus on what actually happens in A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons. Because man, A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons, for the most part, the Ironborn are overwhelmingly the force that takes over the narrative. The Dornish obviously have a huge chunk, and Cersei has a huge chunk. And then Aegon, Fagon, however we want to say, Aegon has his piece. But and so the show just ignored Aegon. It hardly did anything with Dorne, and it diminished the Ironborn story really far. So, like, their way of dealing with bringing the story to closure was to forget about these huge plot lines, which have been the major plot lines for the past 20 years because we've not had new stories. But to like think that like, and yeah, absolutely. George is growing the story and growing the point of views, and when I first read this and I fell in love with the series, it was mainly because of Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons. Like, I loved the fact that we thought the story was coming together, and then the subversion of expectations, it became something else completely, a story that I wasn't expecting, and I was convinced that George was going to bring it all together and it was going to be great. And then it didn't come together. And so you kind of go, okay, well, maybe it really was derailed. And once you kind of go into the history of things, you realize, well, the entire reason that A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons kind of exist in their form is because of the 5-year gap and the mega prologue and it getting out of hand, which is kind of nuts, like, I mean, most because I've talked about this a million times, but like George originally like wanted to have a 5-year gap to grow up the characters. And then he realized that, like, okay, if he was going to do a 5-year gap, I need to do a prologue summarizing the Iron Isles and Dorne, because there were some serious events there that I can't just have 5 years gloss over. They're not, Dornish people aren't going to wait around for being angry about Oberyn Martell for 5 years. The Euron situation, Euron's not going to sit around for 5 years doing his thing. Okay. Like we need to address the Iron Isles and Dorne. So he created the mega prologue. And because it was a prologue, he's like, well, I can use whatever point of view I want. And so he swapped the point of views regularly, which is why we have multiple Dornish and Ironborn point of views when it doesn't need to be. He just wasn't concerned. Then it got so big that he's like, fuck, this doesn't work as a prologue. I guess I'll just put it into the book. And then he was stuck with all these fucking points of view. So that was all kind of by accident. However, if you're really going back and you're saying, okay, well, wait a minute. All those point of views did derail the story. And all those point of views were caused by the mega prologue. And that mega prologue was caused by the 5-year gap. However, that's not the beginning. Like the 5-year gap didn't come from nowhere. The problem was, well, before the 5-year gap, he wasn't advancing the story's timeline fast enough. He wasn't aging the kids fast enough. He wanted to age the kids. His original plan was no 5-year gap. His original plan was this is going to be a multi-generational story where the story was going, the years were passing. But instead, the story slowed down. The story slowed down. A Game of Thrones is over a year. Clash of Kings is 6 months. Storm of Swords is 3 to 4 months. Like, the story slowed down and the kids weren't aging. So what was derailing him was not these plot lines. What was just derailing him was from the beginning, he wasn't advancing the timeline fast enough. He wasn't growing these kids up fast enough. He was stuck on these individual events, expanding them out, writing details that didn't need to be written. I mean, A Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords was supposed to be one book. It was supposed to be one book, and he wrote 3. So to say that, like, oh, the problem is Aegon, Dorne, and Iron Islands. No. The problem was there from the beginning. You know, he wasn't progressing the story fast enough. He was stuck writing all of these massive details. And, you know, I love the fucking Aegon and Dorne and Iron Isle stories. Like, I love them. They're my favorite part. And so it's weird to be like, oh, they ruined everything. Well, you know, this is as if you know, it's like you're forgetting that A Clash of Kings and A Storm of Swords has Arya walking around the Riverlands doing fucking nothing for 2 books. I mean, you know, you could be like, doing nothing? She hung out with Amory Lorch and the Mountains Men and the Brave Companions and the Brotherhood Without Banners and went to the Ghost of High Heart and fucking attacked a sept and they hung some Brotherhood Without Banners and then they resurrected Lady Stone. All that fucking, like, as if there wasn't already derailment of the fucking story prior to the derailment of the fucking story. Of course there was, you know, like Jaime wasn't sitting around like coming on Shay's freckles, like for fucking chapters in A Clash of Kings. Like all that, like it was derailed from the beginning. It was fucking derailed from the beginning. So as much as we love it, is the problems were always there. and I can't blame it on these like plot lines, like these later plot lines, you know. Mm, mm, mm. Okay. What do you think will happen to Marjorie after young Griff takes King's Landing? Oh, I mean, I think Marjorie will probably be killed before that. I mean, I think Marjorie's days are numbered. I think that. I mean, it may depend on like how much power um, uh, Randall Tarley has in controlling her, and like his willingness to give her up to the faith and things like that. But like, you know, the story goes where you've got two people on trial, one person that's clearly guilty and one person that's clearly innocent. And we know that the guilty person is going to get off. Well, what's going to happen to the innocent person? Well, they're probably going to get killed. You know, like we just kind of like have that sense that there's going to be two injustices. Now, that said, strangely enough, most of the trial by combats that happen, actually, even though like they're silly concept that like the gods are going to decide who's innocent, they've been fairly accurate, right? Like Tyrion was innocent, you know, of killing of all the crimes when he went on the trial in the Vale. And then I suppose Tyrion's second one, he loses that trial by battle. So I guess that one he should have won. So I guess that one is unjust. You know, that one's not justice because Tyrion actually was innocent of that crime completely. The Hound, I mean, he does murder Micah. He does kill Micah, but like, he's right that he was ordered to do it. So is he really liable? Well, he wins that one, you know. And then Dunk, you know, Dunk obviously should have won, you know, based on the gods and things like that. So, you know, I guess I guess that second Tyrion trial. Yeah. So this is a great like Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We talked a bit about a Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
We talked more about chocolates than we did Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Kinda.
It was um did I accidentally say that Jamie was fucking Shay? Damn it. Did I instead of Tyrion? But yeah. Anyway, I guess it's time for me to go to bed. Thank you, Carmine, for being with me. I appreciate it. And
yeah, catch us next time live from Tehran next week. We'll
I think they got internet in Tehran.
I would hope. Otherwise, the stream's gonna suck.
Oh man. The poor people. The poor people. Anyway, I will talk to you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon, and I'll see you guys later.